All right, we're just about ready to play football. Coach Joe Peace there, Joe Raymond Peace. I think his team, by the way, has taken on his personality, and that's they're very intense and very focused. Down on the field, the pregame ceremonies are continuing. Pat Ryan is down there. We'll be going to him a little bit later. By the way, there's some rule change, too, this year that we will be telling you about. One is the moving out of the hash marks closer to the center of the field. And the other, of course, is something called a blood rule, which could come into effect tonight. Another one deals with unsportsmanlike conduct. Now let's go down on the field, ladies and gentlemen, and get ready for our national anthem with the Pride of the Southland Marching Band.
Our loving God, we thank you for a beautiful day and for the many gifts you have given us. I pray for those who are sad today. Give them hope. May this be a time of fun, of good sportsmanship amongst the players as well as the fans. Protect the players. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Now, to honor America, will you please join George Pizza Sin City as the University of Tennessee Band, conducted by Patricia Root, plays our national anthem.
Well, the atmosphere here in Neyland Stadium is absolutely electrifying. We expect a great season opener. Louisiana Tech playing before the largest crowd ever for this team. I think their previous high was Alabama, about 77,000. So they're excited. Tennessee is excited, and the fans are on fire. They're anticipating a great 1993. And down on the field, the band is forming the giant T. To our right, Louisiana Tech Bulldogs will enter shortly, and the Tennessee Volunteers are just about set to come on. As the T is formed, here comes Smokey, here comes Tennessee. Something new this year, Tennessee located across the field on the far sideline. We'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Now, let's get set to go down on the field. There has been a late breaking development here, and let's learn more about that as we go to Pat Ryan, who's on the field. Pat?
Yeah, during warm-ups, Shuler developed back spasms up under his left shoulder. It's the same problem he had during training camp, but that was under his right shoulder, and they sat him down for about a week. The trainers were working on him. I talked to Coach Mike Rollo, and he didn't seem too concerned, but said that they needed to check him out before the ball game to see how he was. Bob?
Okay, thank you very much, Pat. Pat Ryan, of course, like Condridge, a former Tennessee quarterback who had a number of years also in the NFL with the Jets, and we're now having the coin toss at the center of the field. Normally, the team that wins in this case will defer, but we'll see what's going to happen here as the captains are out on the field. Condridge, you can really feel it here tonight, can't you?
It's electric. I tell you, it really is. It's people wait for this all year. The thing here in Tennessee is baseball and basketball are just something to do. The football season comes around again, so it's here and everybody's excited.
I believe Louisiana Tech won the toss, and they will defer, so that's the way we'll get things underway here in the 1993 campaign. You might say the Louisiana Tech team indeed is a team of road warriors. They do not play home until October 2nd. They have next week off, then go to South Carolina, then play their third straight SEC foe, Alabama, before they go back home. They are a very capable team, especially on defense. They had some problems on offense last year, but there you see Joe Raymond Peace huddling around his team. He hopes the offensive problems have been solved, and we will see. Tennessee, on the other hand, has worked hard to try to solve any problems they might have in the defensive secondary and on the defensive line. And Philip Fulmer getting ready to start his first full campaign as head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. I guess, Condridge, everybody's going to watch early if Louisiana Tech puts it in the air and see what the youngsters in the secondary can do.
Well, there's no doubt that the Tennessee secondary is going to be tested. That's the youngest part of their defensive group, and any smart offensive coordinator will test it, and I'm sure Louisiana Tech is going to do it.
All right, standing deep for Tennessee will be Billy Williams. You've heard a lot about him. He's on the near side of the field, and Nilo Sylvan, number 83. And we're set to kick off here. Bagneau will kick off for Louisiana Tech. The sun is shining. There's a possibility of a shower. Let's keep our fingers crossed. The kick's going to be taken at the 5-yard line by Nilo Sylvan, straight up the field, across the 20, and battles to about the 22-yard line before he is knocked down. By the way, a native of Louisiana. There are 4 Louisiana players from the state of Louisiana on the Tennessee team. All right, let's see if Heath Shuler comes out there. What does the spasm do? How could it affect his game, Condridge?
Well, it has a tendency to come and go. You never know when it's going to attack you. It's basically, I guess in the layman's terms, you could describe it as a cramp. But it's an ongoing thing. It's always in and out. It's never consistent.
There you see Shuler's numbers for last season. And off on the right side, Garner. He got a couple of yards before he is knocked down. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Craig Faulkner, Charlie Garner, Mario Brunson. At tight end, David Horn, Corey Fleming, a great split end. And then on the offensive line, Lehman, Kevin Mays, Bubba Miller, Jeff Smith, Leslie Ratliff. Young, but a little experience there, especially by Lehman, Mays, and Miller. And Smith, of course, played a great deal. We'll check the defensive lineup shortly. It's second down coming up for the Volunteers. Heath Shuler is going to drop back, wants to throw, fires it incomplete off the hands of the intended receiver, Faulkner. There you see number 4, Craig Faulkner, who thought about retiring but came back. The defensive lineup here, Steve Roberts, Cedric Harris, Kevin Crawford, Derek Moore up front for the Bulldogs. Let's take a look at the linebacking core, and they're good. Fred Price, Lance Reed in the middle, and Carlos Bolton. And in the secondary for Coach Peace Club will be Rodney Bruce, Chris Gray, Rocky Kingery, and Mark Traylor. The starting defense for Louisiana Tech. All right, they're looking at a third down situation here now. And dropping back is Heath Shuler. He wants to fire way over the head of everybody downfield, and incomplete. And we're going to see our first punt in this ball game.
Well, I think what you saw with 2 throws there is probably a little problem with the back spasm, but a lot of excitement. That ball, when you throw high like that, you are pumped up and ready to go. And Heath Shuler was just probably a little wound up that first series.
All right. Tom Hutton standing back there. He's a good one, and he's had a very good fall, by the way. You saw his numbers there. In fact, all of the Tennessee kickers have enjoyed a very good fall. Gets away a nice kick, the left footer, and it's going to be hard to handle. He fumbled it. It's rolling. Tennessee football, I believe. Eric Redmond of Rodney Bruce handled that shore. That was Bruce. Rodney Bruce could not get the handle, and Condridge, the left foot, has something to do with it.
I was going to mention that because I saw their kickers warming up, and they only had right-footed kickers. Now, you can get a kicking machine to kick it left-footed for you and throw it up in the air, but the spin is totally different, the loft is different, and Hutton has a tendency to turn them over, and when he does that, they're very hard to handle.
We believe the man credited with the recovery is Summers, a cornerback on defense. Here's Shuler giving it to Garner. Garner outside. Goes to the corner and gets down to the 15-yard line. There's some of the Charlie Garner's speed. And Condridge, they expect just a fabulous year from him. In fact, many people think he might be the best tailback in the league.
Well, they really do. Here's just a little I formation lead play. And one thing you saw there was Mario Bronson, lead back, the fullback for Tennessee. He's going to play a major part in the running game of all the running backs. The running backs are very deep, and they'll all be fresh, but Mario Bronson is the guy, the key to their success.
You might say he's the bodyguard. This time and pick up 3 or 4 before they stack him up down there. There's Price at the bottom of the pile, a very good linebacker, and Charlie Garner gets up. We're going to see a lot of running backs, I think, tonight for Tennessee. All indications are Aaron Hayden at the moment is listed number 2 on the depth chart, but he and a little man Stewart are perhaps even. The question is, will the freshman Graham, much publicized freshman, play tonight? Only time will tell. Tennessee spreads them out with the receivers, 2 of them set on the left side and a slot on the left this time. Here's Shuler. In the middle goes Charlie Garner. He gets across the 10, maybe to the 9-yard line before the middle of the line. Stacks up number 30 once again. There's Roberts getting up off the bottom of the pile, one of the first for the Bulldogs. Georgia, speaking of Bulldogs, felt the old sting of the upset today, Condridge, by 2 points to South Carolina. Both those teams will be coming into Neyland Stadium this year, but Georgia next week probably mad as heck.
Oh, that's not going to sit well with Coach Goff, I can tell you that. And that's not to the liking of Tennessee fans, I'll tell you.
Charlie Garner, 4 carries for 14 yards. Here's the fake to him. Shuler rolls left, got a man in the end zone. Touchdown! Greg Faulkner. That's why Kippy Brown was thrilled to find that Greg Faulkner was coming back. Kippy recruited him, and all the confidence in the world in him, and told us a couple of weeks ago he couldn't be happier.
Oh, he had to convince Coach Majors that Faulkner could play because they didn't think he could. They finally got him here, and he's one of the guys that are so coachable, and he has that good quickness. It's just what you want in a wide receiver. And I would say that the spasms are gone as of right now.
Wheaton holding, and Bexport puts it through. I believe that's 64 straight for him right now. Let's take a look at the replay, Condry.
This is just a little spin-out pass with a fake counter. And Heath outruns contained, throws the ball a little bit to his left, but perfect throw. And when you're big and strong like that, like Heath Shuler is, you don't always have to have both feet on the ground on a rollout. And if you'll watch here, he basically throws this ball with both feet in the air. But that's normal for a right-handed quarterback rolling to his left.
And you see the veteran Faulkner keeping those feet in bounds. 23 yards, 4 plays. Minute 49. Pat down on the field. Pat Ryan.
Louisiana Tech lined up, bumping both wide receivers. Look for Tennessee next time out to maybe throw a little fade right down here in the corner to Corey Fleming.
That's a good possibility because with that mismatch, you've got Corey Fleming at 6'3", 6'4", and you've got a very short corner. So if they're playing bump and run with nobody helping them on top, that's a great possibility, and it's a good positive play.
Redmond is deep in the center. Bexport is set to kick off for Tennessee. The Volunteers at the 12:09 mark in the first quarter, leading by a score of 7-0. Oh, he gets all the foot into that one. Back into the end zone, into the checkerboard, and they will not return that one. So Louisiana Tech will put it in play at the 20-yard line. We'll get our first look at the Tennessee defense right here, and the first look at the Louisiana Tech offense, and we'll see what they can do. There's your quarterback, Ferguson, Aaron Ferguson, and his stats from last year. Did not play the entire year as a starter, but they like him an awful lot. Coach Peace has complete confidence in him. They come out in the eye. Put a man in motion. They pitch it back to Cooper. Cooper tries to go off his right tackle. Not much there. Let's take a look at the lineups right here as we continue. Chad McKee. Jason Cooper is the running back. Cliff Parks, Trent Ropp, and Brian Francis, the split end. And on the offensive line, all new, Preston Washington, Greg Lancaster, Brad Bull, great name there, Chris Block, and John Rogers up front trying to block for these running backs. The ball defense for you in a moment. Right now looking at a second down and at least 9 to go. Try to cut back against the grain. A little bit of running room there for Cooper. Let's take a look at the Tennessee defense. Shane Burton, Shane Bonham, Paul Yatkowski, and James Wilson. By the way, they'll use 2 defensive lines. George Kidd, Reggie Ingram, and Ben Talley. 3 solid linebackers. Talley has a chance to be truly a great one. And in the secondary, Deron Jenkins and Ronald Davis on the corners. Victor Brown and Jason Parker at safeties. 2 of the hardest hitters in the Southeastern Conference. All right, looking at 3rd down and 5. Tennessee puts the pressure on. They nail it. Ferguson never had a chance. Pouring in was Horace Morris. He started this game, by the way, I think, instead of Burton. Take a look at it, Conrad.
Nice little drop back here, but the pocket just collapses. As you can see, it was just a bull rush by James Wilson. James Wilson had the bull rush, and then the Horace Morris kind of finished up. But when you collapse the pocket like that, there's no room for the quarterback to go.
And on top of him, too, just as he looked upfield, he never had a chance. Here's the punt away, and it's a pretty nice one. Tennessee going to let it bounce. And it's going to bounce. Summers was back there, and it's going to bounce down around the 31-yard line, and that's where the Volunteers will put it in play. 10:08 go, first quarter. Tennessee on top, 7-0. Glad you're with us here on Video Seat. Bob Bell, Condridge Holloway, Pat Ryan's down on the field. We'll be checking with him. That's a 51-yard punt, by the way. Not a bad kick at all.
Well, I'm sure get a little earful on the sideline for that. Sean's got to catch those balls. He can't let them bounce. He's got to either gauge his distance by coming up a little bit closer until they prove they can punt it over his head, or he's got to make that catch. You cannot let it bounce and give up yardage like that.
Punter for Louisiana Tech, Shane Barbaro, is very solid. They've got a lot of confidence in him. Coach Philip Fulmer on the sidelines, directing the action over there. Volunteers will put it in play. It's close to the 32-yard line. 10 minutes, 8 seconds to go. That was Bagno who punted that time. I'll make that correction instead of Barbaro. Bagno is the place kicker, but he was in the punt that time. Charlie Garner going outside, using that speed. And Condridge, the defensive ends, we were told for Louisiana Tech there were some question marks there, and you can see Tennessee has heard that scouting report as well.
Well, yes, and especially when you have a fullback like Mario Bronson. All you have to do is establish a corner. Mario Bronson will seal it, and then with the speed of the running backs that Tennessee has, they'll make that corner pretty easily, and the quarterbacks are going to have to come up and make the play, especially to the short side of the field. 5
carries, 20 yards for Charlie Garner now out of the eye. They give it to Charlie again. He bounces off of one man, spins, keeps spinning, and driving. Fumble, loose ball, but I believe Tennessee has recovered it.
Little man.
That was Little Man Stewart, who had entered at tailback that time. And he turned it loose there, but fortunately the Volunteers were on top of it. Let's take a look at it in the replay.
Just a little lead play with Mario Bronson leading. Good spin move, good balance. And trying to get a little extra, you got to tuck it away when you're. That's a great play by Louisiana Tech. You've got to strip the ball when the running back gives you an opportunity to strip it. You've got to do it, and every good coach teaches that.
Kevin Mays was close. I think he may have been the one on top. Here's the fake to Little Man. They're going to air it out long, and a little too long.
Well, that was the play Pat was discussing earlier.
And for Corey Fleming.
Just didn't click that time, and in fact, they didn't play man coverage. They disguised it, and it was actually a 2-deep zone. And that's not the best of plays against that, but when you get fooled by a defense, you just do the best you can, and that's what he did, was throw it out of bounds.
I think McCray came out, and Van Duren went in the defensive secondary for Louisiana Tech after the long-winded run that time. All right, Tennessee brings a couple of receivers here on the left side, split one on the right, and then Shuler hands it off in the middle. Big hole through to the 40, still fighting for yardage is Mose Phillips. Condridge, I have said often, I think Mose Phillips may be the most underrated football player on the Tennessee team. He doesn't get the publicity maybe of some of the other running backs, but he does everything.
He doesn't get the publicity because he doesn't have the blazing speed, and if you compared all the running backs, put them in T-shirts, he doesn't have the great physique, but what he does when he gets the ball is give positive yardage, and he makes people miss it.
All right, Tennessee now looking at a inside the Louisiana Tech territory dive play off tackle, and not much this time for Mose Phillips, as Louisiana Tech played that one pretty well. A lot of men getting up off of the bottom, including Reed from his linebacker post. 3 very active linebackers for Louisiana Tech. You're going to hear their names mentioned often tonight because they do an excellent job.
I tell you, Kevin Crawford is really a mainstay. He's given Lehman a little bit of a problem at the moment. I've been watching that matchup just to see how it's going to work, and he's playing pretty well right now.
He's about 8 for a first down here. Second down coming up. Shuler stands up, throws out in the right flat. It's going to be the first down and a couple of yards to spare. Nice play that time. Billy Williams. Well, there's the man that has had a lot of publicity to have not played here before, but great things are expected of him, and I believe he'll come through.
I think he will. The difference between when he was here the first time and now is just, I'd say at least 80% difference. He is a much more mature wide receiver now, and he's always been gifted with speed. So with those two things and having Kippy Brown back here, I look forward to great things from him.
Trey Peterson has entered the lineup as an offensive guard for Tennessee. Jeff Smith, I believe, came out. Smith's had a sprained toe, which doesn't sound serious, but if you've ever had one, you know how very painful that can be, especially from a lineman's position. Flag on the play, delay of game.
A lot of those sprained toes are from the turf, which they won't have to worry about next year.
The end. Tennessee, of course, the first collegiate team to play on the artificial surface here. First university to install it, and at the end of the season, after their final game, it'll be torn up. They'll go back to the real thing next year, and everybody seems happy about that. Here's a delay, and Louisiana Tech all over James Stewart that time. Absolutely nowhere to go. The Bulldog defenders were waiting for him that time.
Kevin Crawford.
6:40 left. Yes, as you pointed out, Condridge. This man can play football. 6:35 and clock running here in the first quarter. Tennessee leading 7-0. They break out of there looking at a third and long situation. About 18 when you tack on the loss and the penalties that incur. Here's the throw over the middle, right into the hands of the intended receiver, and it got away from him. Trailer was back there, maybe got a piece of it that time. Kent was the intended receiver, Joey Kent. Tennessee using a lot of receivers here early. 8th play of the drive.
Joey Kent, sophomore from Huntsville, Alabama. Kind of keep up with him a little bit, but he's got to make that catch, and he will. That was just a lack of concentration a little bit, but Joey's going to be a fine player.
They're from Huntsville. They can play, right, Condry?
They give it a good shot.
Hey, over the middle, incomplete to Corey Fleming. Oh.
That's a quarterback's nightmare, no matter who it is. Nice little drop back, little set. There's just a delay under, and you've got Corey Fleming is on a linebacker. That's your dream. That's what you want to have, because Corey Fleming's going to win that foot race. And I think he just thought about running before he caught it, and the results, incompletion.
All right, we're going to have a field goal attempt here by Becksport. It's set down on the 41. It'll make it a 51-yard effort into what little wind we have. It's up there. It's good. Whoa.
With yards to spare.
51-yard field goal kick by John Becksport with 6:05 remaining in the first quarter of play. Tennessee leading by a score of 10-0. Let's go down on the sidelines to Pat Ryan. Pat?
In the offseason, the competition committee of the NCAA decided that offensive production had been down over the past few years, so they decided to change that. They moved the hash marks in closer to the middle of the field. It's something that the defensive coaches don't like, the offensive coaches do, and as you can see right there by that field goal, the kickers love it also. Back to you, Bob.
Okay. It certainly does make a difference. The Ruski is out, and of course, Florida State, teams like that, Nebraska used it. Tennessee has used it in the past, but it's no more. I think a situation that occurred in the Tulane and Alabama game last year, a controversy over that play, and what ensued was one of the things that led to the change. And blood on the uniform, that's a new rule this year. A player has to come out of there if blood is visible on the uniform to any degree, or if there's an open wound. And it's at the discretion of the official. Actually, a timeout could be charged to a team, so that could be a factor during the season. Once again, Becksport gets it all, absolutely all of it, and no chance for a return, as Louisiana Tech will have to bring it out to the 20 and start all over. Another new rule this year, too, Condridge, is the taunting rule, and some say that team in South Florida had something to do with that rule change, the Hurricanes, but you cannot celebrate after a touchdown to any degree. If it's a little too much, then you can be penalized. Alabama, the defending national champion, in the third quarter, doing about what was expected, leading 31-10 over Tulane. I think they were favored by 34 going into the ball game. Here's the handoff to the tailback, and Cooper's trying to find some running room and does a pretty good job getting out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. That's Redmond, who has spelled Cooper at the tailback spot. They alternate those two, and we may see a freshman in there, a youngster by the name of Myron Smith at times. Now Redmond comes off, and Cooper back in. They're not real deep at the running back position, but they do have some talented people there. If they can get the blocking, that's the question, because they have new men up front across that offensive line. Out of the gun this time. They hand off, and Tennessee pretty well smelled that one out. Got him maybe a yard or two. Getting up is Horace Morris, number 85. Jason Cooper couldn't find much running room. Horace Morris, who was rumored to have been in Johnny Major's doghouse, but he's certainly not in Philip Fulmer's.
Well, no, he's getting every opportunity to show his wares, and Horace is one of those excitable players. He's, as you can see by that play, he came from the backside to chase the runner down, and he does that. He's constantly moving. He's constantly all over the field. Very active defensive football player.
Strange as it may sound, he's a defensive end. He can outrun some of the backs. Here's a whistle on the play. They blow it dead. May have been delayed, but we'll wait for the official ruling on that one. Illegal motion is the call. It'll set them back 5. 4 minutes, 51 seconds to go. Quarter one. Tennessee on top 10-0. You see a shot of the Bulldog sidelines, and the plays being sent in via the hand signals to quarterback Ferguson.
And shaded by two quarterbacks so the opposite side can't see him.
There you go. Aaron Ferguson puts a man in motion. It's 3 receivers on the left side and looks that way and has to hurry and almost completed it, and then it was almost intercepted by Jason Parker on the rebound. Boy, Tennessee was all over Ferguson that time. He did show some nerve to stand in there as long as he did.
I tell you, he gets a good shot from Horace Morris, but I tell you, Aaron Ferguson, I watched him in warm-ups, and he's got the mechanics, and he's a big, tall guy, but well, if you don't get time to throw, you're just going to have a long day, and he hadn't had much time today so far.
Punt formation time here for the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. They have next week off, and then they travel to South Carolina. That'll be a handful for them, too. South Carolina will look very good today. Summers comes up, takes it across the 45 to about the 47 before they drive him down, and the Volunteers will put it in play at that point. Don Summers did a good job last year of returning kicks. He's been alternating with 2 or 3 different people, including Corey Fleming here in the fall practice. They use Fleming some back there in practice, Condridge. That's kind of dangerous, a man that valuable, but they say he's got great hands, and they like that.
They would probably use Corey in a situation where they're going to do a lot of fair catching. There is a new quarterback in. Gary Colquitt.
Colquitt is in. He hands off in the middle and up to the 49-yard line with the football. The Volunteers move it. There's Colquitt, Jerry Colquitt. and his stats on last year.
I don't think it's an injury situation. I just think Philip Fulmer really wants to establish that this team is not just Heath Shuler. This team is a lot of people, and that's the way they've got to play. If they think it's all Heath Shuler, they have a tendency to sit around and watch for Heath to do things. So everybody's going to contribute for this football team.
There's Aaron Hayden contributing. Hayden gets down deep into Louisiana Tech territory across the 40 all the way down to the 35-yard line. Aaron Hayden.
Different running back, I formation, little lead blocker, but one thing is always constant. Number 44, who is knocking people down in front, Mario Bronson.
Russ Berry, our spotter, is going to be busy man tonight because Tennessee is going to use a lot of people.
That's just great running, great blocking.
Aaron showing some power that time as well. First down, Colquitt back to throw, fires it out in the flat, complete and out of bounds with it over there. Mose Phillips, pick number 19, out of Hillsborough High School in Nashville, where he was a quarterback in high school.
And a pretty good quarterback, too. But one thing Mose brings to this offense is his versatility, as you mentioned before. His ability to catch screens, run traps, run outside if he has to, and make people miss gives him another little intangible that a lot of the other guys don't have.
All right, Jerry Colquitt operating at quarterback now for Tennessee. Receiver set on each side, hands it off. A quick pop in the middle. Nice running in the middle for Tennessee as the entire secondary comes up to bring Hayden down that time. Took 4 men out of the secondary to drag him down. Aaron Hayden is pumped.
Well, you've got to be pumped when you've got that many running backs. This is just a quick little trap. You see Jeff Smith do his what they call a loop block, comes around, leads Aaron up through the hole, and just a perfect execution with a double team at the point of attack.
Van Duren was the man who made the initial contact, but he had to have some help. Tennessee with the football now, third down. Here's the handoff on the right side this time, running behind the right guard and right tackle. And again, they find a little bit of daylight there. We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Tennessee leading Louisiana Tech by a score of 10-0. Aaron Hayden, number 24 there, who came in this year in absolutely top-notch, perfect condition physically and expecting a battle, and certainly he's going to get his playing time along with Charlie Garner, who started, along with little man Stewart and Mose Phillips and maybe some more. Hayden's got 4 carries now for 29 yards. Colquitt may be checking off at the line of scrimmage. The eye back behind him, turns around and going to throw quick out in the flat. Had the right idea on the checkoff. It's down to Corey Fleming, who's out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. He saw something, Conrad.
Well, what he thought he saw was a man situation. He got tricked. He made a good throw, but he threw into a too deep coverage, and there's a cornerback sitting right there. He makes a great throw to the outside to avoid the interception. But I think what he thought he saw was a man-to-man situation with the corner went off.
All right, let's go down on the sidelines quickly to Pat Ryan. Pat?
Yeah, Conrad, you're right there. He thought he saw a blitz, but that's why the defensive coaches don't like the hash marks. Last year, that throw couldn't have been made.
That's true. That's true.
All right, let's see. Powers down across the 5 to about the 4, maybe the 3-yard line. Before he's knocked down by a couple of the linebackers. Also Van Duren coming up.
Now at the 4.
Tennessee's got pretty much an all-new offensive line in there except for Miller right now. The first team, though, came back in. So they're experimenting here early. They've got to find some depth there. They've got talent in the starting lineup, but they've got to have some guys behind them. You can't go in the Southeastern Conference just with your starting lineup on the offensive line. You've got to be 2 or 3 deep there.
You have to get that game experience.
Here's the pitch. It's a mistake, and it's going to be converted into a turnover here for Louisiana Tech. Pitched it a little bit behind the intended runner here, and we'll check on that when we look at it, the replay here, Condridge.
This play is caused by, the quarterback just didn't get down into the line enough. He actually got too close to the running back, and when you make that pitch that way, it's just right here, he should get back down into the line and go underneath the defensive end and make the pitch. But when you get spread out like that, it causes problems, and there you have it, a turnover.
Linebacker Shannon Jenkins, number 3, came up to make the recovery for Louisiana Tech and stop the ball threat. With a minute to go in the first quarter of play, Louisiana Tech takes over on their own 10-yard line. Ferguson pitches back. Oh, nothing doing there. Tennessee all over that one. Bonham was there. Wilson was there. They were waiting for that one. Eric Redmond trying to get to the corner, and it just didn't materialize.
I'm really surprised that Aaron Ferguson hasn't tested the Tennessee secondary yet. I know he's having a little trouble getting the ball off, but all previous reports had it that the Tennessee secondary was suspect, and up until this point they have not been tested.
See, Summers is in here at the left corner right now, so they're doing some substituting there already as well. Here's Ferguson in the end zone. He just pitched it out there.
I think that's going to be a safety.
I believe it will be too. We'll wait and see. I think the official dropped the flag. There it is, safety. He just pitched it forward and hoping that it would be accepted as a maybe a forward pass, but it wasn't. Paul Yatkowski was all over him. Take a look.
There's that Horace Morris again. His speed, you just can't, no substitute for speed. And he didn't bull rush, but he just outran the tackle to the upper side of the field. And your quarterback is in a position where he has nowhere to go. That's the only thing he can try to do, and it resulted in safety.
Morris hit the quarterback. Yatkowski hit the intended receiver, if you want to call him an intended receiver, and I guess that's what Ferguson had in mind. But, of course, the official stepped in and ruled that it was a safety. We've got 18 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play now. And you see the scoreboard there. Tennessee on top, 12-0. The Louisiana Tech team breaks back out on the field after a little conference with their coach, Joe Raymond Peace. There's the great Tennessee band, the pride of the Southland. They'll be, of course, performing here at halftime for the 95,000 plus. We'll get you an exact figure from the athletic department in a moment.
Aren't they under new leadership this year?
Yes, they are.
They sure are.
Dr. Julian, after many years, has stepped aside, and we'll be talking about that. 95,000 plus is the attendance here. All right, Tennessee set now to receive, and of course you can kick off here or you can punt after a safety, and they select the punt, and it's a nice high one. Going to be taken by the Volunteers up across the 40. Good running room, still fighting for yardage as Summers across the 45 to the right around the 46-yard line before they drop him there. 23-yard return by Summers. Looked good on this one, Condridge.
He really did. Kept his eyes up, get positive yardage. That's what you got to do, and sooner or later you're going to break one, but you've got to maintain a positive image when you're running kicks back. You're not going to break every one of them, so don't try to be a hero and make big plays. Just get positive yardage. When you do get that opening, then turn the speed on and take it to the house.
Heath Shuler back in, and he fires out in the flat. That one looked like it might have slipped off his hand.
Well, I tell you what happened.
Ground.
There's an automatic play when there's an uncovered receiver. You throw to him hot. Craig Faulkner and Heath Shuler just had a miscommunication there because Craig was trying to block somebody. If he's looking for the ball, he catches it for about a 5-yard gain. And if they miss tackle, it might turn into a big play. But that's just an automatic checkoff that's between quarterback and receiver. As you see right now, Corey Fleming is covered.
All right, it's second down and 10 yards to go. They go out. There's running room. It's going to be a first down all the way down. Billy Williams to the 45-yard line, to the 40-yard line. Well, that's the end of the first quarter of play here at Neyland Stadium. And the score is the Tennessee Volunteers 12, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs nothing. End of the first quarter of play. We'll be back in a moment.
Relive the electrifying moments in Tennessee football history with the new Best of the Big Orange Home Video Collector Series. Start your collection with Volume 1, The Great Fall Wide Receivers. Watch 60 minutes of spectacular pass plays, acrobatic catches, and up-close interviews with ball greats Stanley Morgan, Larry Severs, Willie Goff, plus many more. It's the very first volume in a video series on Tennessee football, and it's yours for only $19.99. Now on sale at JCPenney or by dialing 1-800-488-3883.
As we get set to go to quarter number 2 on a pleasant night, weather-wise here in Knoxville, Tennessee leads it by a score of 12-0. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the NCAA and Host Communications and is intended for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of the game without the express written consent of the NCAA and Host Communications is prohibited. Let's hope that the rain stays away, and so far it has just been a pleasant evening. Anything would be pleasant compared to what the summer has been like in Tennessee and in Louisiana.
Oh,
brutal.
Brutal heat.
Here's Shuler rolling, going to keep it and go down, but the ball got loose. I think they're going to rule it was already down, though. There's your man Crawford again, Condridge, all over that play.
Hey, Kevin is having a day. He's very active, and the only problem with him being this active, if they don't have anybody to rest him, fourth quarter time comes, it's you'll be carrying a little extra weight. You'll be a little tired.
They're substituting very little, it appears, on the defense. They have shuffled some people in and out on offense, and a couple of occasions in the secondary they have substituted, and a couple of times at linebacker, but not wholesale substituting as yet. So we'll see what kind of toll that takes. Quick stand up and a pop to Fleming down the sideline. Touchback! Touchdown! Corey Fleming. Beautiful, beautiful move by Fleming. Hey, you can see the athletic ability at about the 10. You knew that race was over.
That was over, and this was a checkoff, and he got the situation that he wanted. One-on-one, he wasn't fooled, didn't get his zone coverage, and what you saw there was just athletic ability. Corey Fleming is a very, very excellent athlete. He did step out of bounds, but I guess there's no replay, so you can't really argue with that.
He did touch that
but
sideline.
yes, he definitely stepped out of bounds. But Corey Fleming is such a remarkable athlete that Coach Wade Houston even tried to get him to play on a basketball team last year. But Coach Fulmer's not going to give him up.
At the end of spring, he was voted the most improved player. He just had a fabulous spring.
Oh, that's a good play. Oh, good reaction.
Yes, it was. That was a nice play by Sullivan and a pretty good reaction by the defense over there. The official who was closest to that, I thought, did not see it, but fortunately for Louisiana Tech, he did. Let's take a look at some other scores. 41-14, Michigan. Well, they could be the best around. That remains to be seen. Miami, 23-7 over Boston College. Notre Dame had to struggle and finally did win today. Nebraska, look at that, 76-14. All right, Shuler back to throw over the middle, a little too hot on that one, a little too high, intended for Corey Fleming. Even with Corey's jumping ability, he could not pull that one down.
Very wise decision, by the way. When you get them stretched out that far, you leave your rib cage very exposed. That is not very healthy.
It's 12-0. Tennessee appeared to have scored a touchdown, but as you saw on the replay, Corey Fleming did indeed step on the out-of-bounds line. And the official was about 5 yards away and didn't see it. Here's Shuler firing into the end zone. This one will count. Touchdown. Corey Fleming came back, said, hey, give me one more shot.
Well, if you had any question about Heath Shuler's touch, take a look at this one.
Fireworks explodes over Neyland Stadium. That's 95,000 fans, and the cheerleaders appear to be a little bit excited. It was a beautiful, beautiful play. We'll take a look at it again in a moment. A nice catch by Corey, who had the touchdown brought back, apparent touchdown, but did step on the out-of-bounds line. But this time in the back of the end zone, beautiful touch, as Condridge said. There's Becksport. And Tennessee Volunteers up their lead to 19-0 over Louisiana Tech with 13:21 left in the first half of play.
you take a look at this, this play can only be made with a touch pass because you cannot fire this one in there. It's got to be a touch pass right over the defender and before the wide receiver gets to the end zone line, the back of the end zone. So it's got to be a timed touch pass. And here it is from the second replay. Just a little touch pass right over the defender. Defender has his back turned. He has no chance. Just got to get it in there.
The defender that time was Kingery, who did turn around and got turned around and could not make the play. There's the celebrating, but it's not excessive in the minds of the officials, so no penalties. 7 plays, covered 54 yards, and took a minute 57 off of the clock. 13:21 remaining in the first half of play. Tennessee leading 19-0 and playing a lot of people here. Bexford is set to kick off for the Volunteers.
Bob, what do you think about that, the rule of excessive celebrating? I think it needed to be. We were starting to get just, I mean, it's hard to tell the cheerleaders from the players there for a while.
Well, they were holding up the game in some case with the celebrating, and Bexford is not going to allow anyone to come out of that end zone. What do you think?
I think I'm in agreement with it. I just think that being emotional is part of the game, but when you make it a circus or make it a pre-contrived act, that you're taken away from the game, and no player that plays the game is bigger than the game. And I think it's a necessity right now.
I kind of agree with you. You can still celebrate if you'll come to the sidelines. We should point that out.
I.e. Icky Woods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do a little shuffle on the sideline. Here's Ferguson firing over the middle. Oh, had his man there. Couldn't hang on to it. It was a very nice attempt that time to Brian Francis. Let's go down on the sidelines right now to Pat Ryan. Pat?
You know, Conrad, you and Bob were talking about the celebration rule. That all came in, started with Mark Gastineau up there with the New York Jets. And we always felt that why did you make a big deal out of doing your job? And
that's right.
That's just the way it should be.
Corey Fleming, by the way, has got 3 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. Here's a little mix-up in the backfield, and Redmond's going to be dropped. Eric Redmond. Horace Morris, one of the first men to arrive on the scene. Horace looking good here in the first half.
Horace has just got too much speed. He is, I mean, that was a little mix-up, and the snap count was probably off. It looked like because everybody wasn't off on the ball at the same time. But, boy, I tell you, Horace has just got a lot of speed for a defensive end. He's going to give a lot of tackles and tight ends problems.
Tennessee concerned about the pass rush. No Todd Kelly, they felt like coming in. They hope to find one, and who knows? Horace may fill the bill. Here's Ferguson firing long. Almost intercepted. That was George Kidd. George Kidd, number 42, a linebacker who had floated out there in the flat and almost had him 6 right there, Condridge. That could have been something he'd have been talking about well into the night.
I think maybe we would have had a test of the celebration rule if he'd got that one and taken it in.
Hey, in this case, give him a celebration, yeah. All right, on the incomplete pass with 12:34 to go in the second quarter of play. It's going to be a punting situation here for the Bulldogs. A pretty good rush on, but did a nice job of getting it out of there. Falling down with the football is Sean Summers. Get ready for more Tennessee football tomorrow as UTV Network brings you the Philip Fulmer Show. Tune in across the state and throughout the South for all of the highlights from tonight's game, comments from Coach Fulmer, enlightening features, interviews with the ball players and coaches. Watch for the Philip Fulmer Show tomorrow in Tri-Cities on WCYB TV, Channel 5 at 11:30 a.m. And in Knoxville on WVIR, Channel 10 at 9. In Nashville on WKRN, Channel 2 at 1. In Chattanooga, WTBC, Channel 9 at 1 o'clock. In Memphis and Jackson on WPTY, Channel 24 at 10:30 p.m. And on Sports South Cable, Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. They're going to have to repunt. While reading that, I missed out there. Condridge, what happened?
I missed this one, too.
Well, everybody missed it. But we're going to get to see another punt and another nice one, an even better one. This is going to back Sean up across the 35. He comes up to the 40 and is going to be driven back It had to be a 5-yard penalty because they needed about 13 for a first down. 47-yard kick. There's Sean Summers, number 23. A youngster who was thrown into the fire early last year and performed quite well. And some more of them are being thrown into the fire tonight on both sides of the football here. Louisiana Tech as well as Tennessee. There's Heath Shuler. There you see his numbers. 5 out of 12. And to be honest with you, it probably should be a little better. He's had a couple drop. Here's Heath rolling to his left. Fires low this time, out for Faulkner in the flat. Defensive backs were up on top of him, but pass was not catchable.
That was a direct result of coming out a little bit too flat. And I'm sure when Heath watches that on film, he'll see himself. His footwork just got a little bit flat on him. And when you do that rolling to your left, you'll throw the ball into the ground almost every time.
There's Randy Sanders, who signals in the plays for Tennessee. Former player here himself, of course. Well, look at here. No backs this trip. Tennessee's got everybody spread out.
Got a guy wide open.
And they fire out here to Corey Fleming. It's incomplete. It may have been touched over there by Van Duren.
There was a little mix-up on the defense that time. There was a wide receiver. I didn't catch the number. I think it might have been Craig Faulkner. But nobody covered him. He just ran down the field and nobody covered him. No, actually it was Joey Kent.
Tennessee here showing something new, a little bit new. They used this a time or two last year late. No back offense. Everybody spread out. 2 on this side, 3 on the other. Here's the pass over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Kent. Joey Kent was the intended receiver running a crossing pattern. Even though it's incomplete, I think the crowd liked that. Non-conservative, shall we say, Condridge.
There wasn't a draw play, and they didn't run up the middle. And to this group here, that's a progressive move.
That's worth 3 points. They figure.
Sure is.
We've got 12 minutes to go here in the half. Tennessee not converting that well on the third down. 1 of 5. Here's the left-footed kick out of there. And it's going to be dropped again. And I think Louisiana Tech this time, though, did come up with the football at the 20-yard line.
Now, that kick was totally different than the first one. That was more of a knuckleball. And that ball knuckled in and just basically took his eye off of it.
Spencer Hurd was the man who was receiving. He's new and as far as the return work is concerned, but he too has trouble holding on to the football because of the spin off the left foot, and did get a break this time. And Louisiana Tech, unlike the previous time, they did recover this time.
I think you'll see Spencer back because he recovered this one. You got to make up for your mistake.
Here's Ferguson hanging it on a line out there, and pretty well covered. 2 Tennessee men out there, intended for Francis, but a little bit too high anyway. Would have taken absolute perfect throw to have gotten that one. Raymond Austin is in the ball game, so unless we miss somebody on the special teams, that may be your first true freshman in there. He's from Lawton, Oklahoma. Wears number 28. He's in at safety right now, and he is one terrific athlete. Here's the delay. A stutter step in the middle this time, and good for 2 or 3. Ben Talley was one of the first men to hit him. Ben Talley was a very good football player last year. Kind of rededicated himself, we understand, in the spring, and coaches talked to him about being a team leader, about reaching the absolute ultimate as far as his ability is concerned, and he's on his way to doing that. They go out of the shotgun this time, and Ferguson hangs it out there. Tennessee defender slipped and fell. That was Raymond Austin, or he might have had an interception right there, I believe, Condridge, had he not slipped.
The Tennessee defense, they were in great position that time, but like I said, Aaron Ferguson is just not getting ample enough time to sit back and read the defense and throw to the proper spots. He's having to anticipate because the rush of the Tennessee defensive line is just so fierce right now. He doesn't have time to wait that extra half a second to let his guy come open. He has to throw beforehand.
Torrey Noel, another true freshman, was in on that last play as well. So the true freshman in the secondary almost blocked that time by the Volunteers. And John Summers reverses his field, retreats a bit, now finds some daylight, and spins down into Tech territory to the 45, maybe the 44-yard line. Nice bit of running that time before he's finally brought down by Myron Smith, who is on the special teams but is actually a tailback. 33-yard kick that time.
That was a very smart play. I'm trying to get the number. I think it was 93. But he had a chance to make a great block, but he saw that he would have clipped him, and he let him go, and end up to be a positive play instead of a penalty.
That would be Scott Gagnon, who's very aggressive in there. Here's the play, trying to get outside that time. Charlie Garner, he got a little bit of running room. Got down to about the 42-yard line before they bring him down. Secondary people coming up, and Louisiana Tech has a man shaken up on the field right now, so we'll have an official timeout for the injury down there. Appears to be a leg injury. Wait till they turn him a little bit so we can pick up the number right now. We have some clouds around in the area, but all in all, it's a very pleasant night. We're hoping the rain holds off. Watching a little bit earlier today of that Georgia-South Carolina game, they had a real downpour, but fortunately it occurred at halftime and not during the game itself. Georgia comes in here next week, and South Carolina will be in later. South Carolina coach Sparky Woods, I would think, would call that one today his biggest win, because previously his biggest win had been against Tennessee, but that was in Columbia. This one was on the road between the hedges. And for Ray Goff, hey, Condridge, that's a terrible blow.
But for Sparky, you know it was a big win for him, because he didn't even try to kick the extra point. He didn't want to take a chance of something happening. He just went down and took the victory and said thank you and got out of Dodge.
Damian Jones, there he is. Big Damian Jones, who's a senior, 6 foot, 256 pounds. He's from Ruston, Louisiana. There's Smokey. Well, he appears to be handling the humidity and high temperatures pretty well. Shuler still at quarterback, hands off to Garner. Garner gets outside and then runs out of room. There's Charlie, number 30, just simply ran out of room over there. Steve Roberts, big number 99, chasing him, is 6'4", 265 pounds, and like a lot of the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, he comes from the state of Texas, Hallsville, Texas, as a matter of fact. Tech seemed a little bit confused that time on the defense. Garner now has 7 carries for 27 yards. He may break one here before the night is over. Shuler fakes it in there and then fires out on the flat. It's complete. And out of bounds with the football is Billy Williams. Billy Williams making a nice catch.
Take a look at this throw here. He's being chased. He throws off his back foot, but he does throw an accurate pass, and you just don't realize how hard that is. That is not an easy throw to make, because you're making a play-action fake. You have to roll to your right, and you've got a defender in your face, and you make a throw like that, and then Billy Williams does the rest. Good moves. Ball tucked in the other hand. Coach Brown will get on about that one. Tuck it away outside.
Billy Williams weighs all of about 160, 161. Here's Garner going up the middle for a little yardage that time before the linebackers and DBs closed down on him. But I tell you what, Billy Williams is not that big, but he is still considered a physical player, Condridge. He's a tough guy, and he caught passes like that in heavy traffic all during his high school years, too, at Alcoa.
And he is a tough guy, and that's something that Coach Kippy Brown instills in all of his receivers. In fact, he's made toughness a part of Craig Faulkner's game this year. And you'll get a chance to see that later in the year, maybe later on tonight. But he's made him become a more physical player.
In the middle that time, by the way, Billy Williams, 36 yards on 3 receptions. Tennessee trying to soften up the middle there. I would have to say at this point, Tennessee probably would like to get a little better blocking right in the middle than they're getting right now. Let's go down to Pat Ryan on the sidelines. Pat?
Yeah, Damian Jones just came off with an apparent ankle sprain. They've got him over here on the sidelines working on him. They're going to tape him up, and so they send him right back in. Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Here's Garner trying to slide outside. This time he does get a good block on the corner, down to about the 5-yard line, maybe inside the 5 to the 4 before he is run out of bounds. Garner has a great ability to kind of dip that shoulder, Conridge, and freeze the defender.
He does, and he has that little innate ability to do that. But if you take a look who's out there blocking. Mr. Aggressive this year, number 4, Craig Faulkner. Kippy Brown will give him A+ for that. But this is just a find your hole type of play. If it's off tackle, Charlie will take it. If it's not, he bumps it outside, and that's where you use your speed and quickness. And there again, the hash mark plays a part of that. You know, that would have been a lot less of a play if the hash marks were out wider.
Stop into the end zone for the touchdown on a dive play that time. Nice play. The Volunteers go up. Charlie Garner comes with 8:47 remaining in the first half of play. Volunteers 25-0. We'll have the extra point attempt now by John Bexford. Garner 11 carries, 53 yards on the night. John Bexford entered the 93 season having connected on 63 straight extra points. And he's added 3 more here tonight. It's up there and it is good. It is now a 26-0 ball game. And the Volunteers are on top with 8:47 remaining here in the first half of play. Charlie Garner is the leading returning rusher on this team. There's the replay. Conridge, he did get the blocking that time they were looking for.
He sure did.
Right guard and tackle. Right
guard and tackle, and there's our guy, Mr. Versatility. Mose Phillips led him through the hole. They actually gave Mario a break. Let Mose stick his head in there a little bit.
Take another look at it.
Just good double team blocking there by center and guard. Jeff Smith and
big number
Bubba.
74 is Jeff.
And Bubba double team at the point of attack. Mose Phillips leads him through, and the good seal blocks by the tight ends and tackle.
That's 45 yards, 7 plays, took 2:04. Bubba is settling in at center. They experimented some there in the fall with Jeff Smith at center. Lehman, of course, at one time had been penciled in as the center. He is moving out to left tackle, and Bubba seems to have settled in as the center and doing a real nice job. This kick is a little bit shorter. This one only goes to about the 1-yard line. The others have been deep into the end zone. And the return is out to about the 22-yard line by Eric Redmond before he is knocked down. There's Jester, among others, in on the tackle that time for Tennessee. Tennessee's pretty deep at linebacker, and you're going to be seeing, in addition to those starters, people like Emery and Jester and Gallion tonight and Sanders. So that's one of the strengths, I think, of the Tennessee football team. They're very deep at the linebacker position. Players shaken up a little bit on the play down here, and that's why we have the official timeout. As you can see, they're huddled around. We can't pick up a number right now. 8:38 remaining in the first half of play as the night settles in Knoxville, and so far it's been all Tennessee. The Volunteers on top 26-0, playing a lot of players, trying to get a look at a lot of different people here. Who is that? That's Kerrigan, right? Shane Kerrigan. Who comes off favoring that left knee or ankle. And he is being helped to the sidelines in on the kick team. Ball is out to the 22-yard line. At that point, it'll be first down and 10 to go for the Bulldogs.
I think we've seen our second true freshman playing tonight, Leland Taylor.
And a quarterback in here, too, and he rifles one out there, and it is complete. That's Jason Martin throwing, and Francis catching. Ryan Francis, and it's a first down. By the way, that is the first down for Louisiana Tech. It comes at the 8:30 mark. That much time left in the second quarter of play. So you can say the Tennessee defense has done their job to this point. First down and 10 to go for Louisiana Tech, operating with Martin at quarterback. Hands off and nothing doing. Tennessee all over that one. Jason Cooper was the ball carrier, but the balls were waiting.
James Wilson.
James Wilson.
Shows his
James.
speed. Runs it down from the backside.
James listed on some of the pre-conference selections on the first team and the defensive line.
And when you run that counter play, the tendency is not to block the backside end. But if he'll come at an angle right down the line of scrimmage, he can catch most people, especially with the speed of a James Wilson or a Horace Morris. You can catch the running back down the line.
We'll pull back to the 35. The mix-up in the middle happens sometimes with new quarterbacks coming into a ball game, and Louisiana Tech was fortunate to get away with one there. Greg Lancaster actually wound up, big lineman, with his hands on the football and saved the day for the quarterback. Jason Martin is a freshman, by the way, from Oak Grove, Louisiana. He's 6'3", big kid, weighs 220 pounds. Now they're looking at a 3rd down and 13 situation. Tech's minus 15 yards rushing in this ball game. Out of the shotgun whistles, they'll stop this one. May have been delay. We'll see what the official has to say about this one.
Didn't make it. The clock ran out. Delayed again.
Well, you saw it. They'll step back 5 more against Louisiana Tech. A little over 6:50. Clock starts running again, coming up on the 6:50 mark. Left here in the first half of play. 26-0. The Volunteers leading here in Knoxville before 95,000 plus. Sell out. Next week, Georgia comes in town. They go with the gun again. Now back to the freshman quarterback. Gets some pressure on him. Fires out in the flat, incomplete. A little too short out there. And Martin hit the deck as well.
There again,
so they'll have to turn it over.
Jason just didn't have time to set up and read. He had to throw long time before his receiver was ever out of his cut. And that's why. I mean,
man flashing through there was Mr. Bonham.
Shane Bonham. What a character. Between him and Paul Yatkowski, they look like the 2 muscle-bound roommates that they are. They live in that weight room.
As a tandem, these are probably about as solid a tackles as Tennessee's had in a long time. Here's the punt away.
Great punt.
Beautiful. Corey Fleming is back there to receive this one, and he's looking for some daylight, and he's got some. He's still fighting across the 40 up to the 45-yard line. Well, now we know why they wanted Corey Fleming back there receiving punts.
He's got some athletic ability, and you can see that right there. He's not going to be your 4-2, 4-3 guy, but he has that vision, and he can make people miss. That's just athletic ability and skill right there. Finding an open hole, getting there, tucking that ball away, making a positive play. Let's line up and do it again. That's the way Corey Fleming operates.
Carlos Bolton chased him down. 49-yard punt, a 25-yard return, though. Colquitt's back in at quarterback, and he fires out in the flat, and it's complete to Scott Pfeiffer, big tight end, 6'4", 256-pound freshman. First time I believe we've called his name tonight, big number 89 there. Tennessee's tight ends. In fact, they were so deep at that position, that's why they had the luxury of moving Burton over to defense, who started out as a tight end at Tennessee. Okay, Colquitt looking now at 2nd down in the short yardage situation, maybe a yard to go. Here's Hayden dipping, got inside, got outside, got to the 10, run out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Nice run by Aaron Hayden.
Competition is stiff, and it always brings the cream to the top. I tell you, a lot of people thought that Aaron Hayden would be the one to maybe transfer or just not accept the challenge, but what he did was go out and rededicate himself, and he's having a great opening day.
Probably should have the ball in the other hand, though. Let's go down to Pat Ryan on the sidelines. Patrick?
Yeah, Bob, I tell you what, Tennessee's using what essentially is 4 receivers, using a tight end, and forcing Louisiana Tech to play a pass defense, so that really opens up the running game inside, and Tennessee's taking advantage of it.
Forget the red shirt for Benji Shuler. He is on the field now. Aaron Hayden, by the way, Condridge has already picked up 72 yards and 6 carries. Tennessee being backed up, as you saw the official signal there. So they back them up 5.
They've also got the second team offensive line in there, except for Bubba Miller. So that'd be something to watch. That's going to be a very interesting film session next week, because those people have to step up and play big for the Tennessee team to be successful.
Like Nelson and Peterson and those guys have got to get in there and see what they can do. Here's the handoff on the left side. They do a pretty good job that time as Aaron Hayden slides through down to about the 6-yard line before he is stopped. Getting up off the bottom there is big number 94, Demetrius Foles. Foles is 6'4", 257-pounder, calls Miami, Florida home.
Jerry's really flirting with that time clock. He's going to have to speed it up a little bit, but we'll hear about that in the meeting.
We got a little over 4 minutes and 5 seconds right now to go in the first half. Stand up and throw into the corner and just out of the end zone over there. A little timing pattern, but couldn't connect in time. Corey Fleming was the intended receiver, number 12, racing into the corner. That's
great little timing pattern, but I'm sure if Jerry could do this, if Jerry Colquitt could do this again, he'd throw it a lot earlier. This ball is thrown late.
At that point, when you said earlier, he had him beat pretty easily right there then, Conrad.
You got to throw it early and get that ball out in front, where the defensive back is on the back of the receiver, and there's no chance of anything but a touchdown or an incompletion.
Chris Gray was the defender that time for Tech, so it's third down. Colquitt stands up. He's in trouble. Spins out of there. Nice move. Throws into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Nilo Sylvan. I believe he might have scored had he pulled it down and run with it. Steve Roberts was the defensive end who got in there. Take a look.
This is a good escape. You can always do that. If you duck up, defensive linemen have a tendency to go right over your back, but this ball should have been caught. That should have been a touchdown.
Nilo Sylvan. Kippy will have something to say about that, perhaps.
Maybe look it in.
John Bexford adding to his string. His field goal. Up and out in there. And it's a 29-0 score now as Tennessee tacks on 3. John Bexford with the field goal. So the Volunteers now with 3:48 remaining in the first half of play, up their lead thanks to Bexford's 3, 29-0. As we continue to see a lot of players shuffled in and out here. And the session in the film room this weekend is going to be interesting. Tennessee will perhaps get a good idea of who can play, especially in the offensive line and the secondary. You've seen those people in particular shuffled in and out. They're pretty well certain about their frontline people coming in. It's the depth that they were concerned with, especially on the offensive line and in the secondary. Volunteers now will be kicking off at 3:48 to go in the first half, dominating 29-0 here in the first half of play against Louisiana Tech. Tech has a week off, and then they go traveling over to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks. Then they travel to Tuscaloosa to take on the Tide. Tennessee back home against Georgia, and then they go on the road to Florida. Again, no return possible here as it goes all the way into the back of the end zone and out of there. So Tech will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Tennessee drive, 54 yards, 6 plays. Took 2:29 and culminated with the 3 points by Bexford.
Jason Martin back in the game, and let's see you put it in there, Jason.
Big, tall freshman. 2 running backs back there, and he hands it off to the first one, and nothing doing. Tennessee swarms all over that one. Jason Cooper, I believe, was the ball carrier. He gets up off the bottom of the pile. Let's see. The Volunteers have in there at linebacker right now Nick Jester, number 45, who was the first man or one of the first to make contact that time. So Tennessee getting fresh people in. Over here on the right corner is Ronald Davis, who was moved over from offense where he was an excellent receiver to the defensive side of the football, and in practice has looked very good at cornerback, and apparently has looked good tonight. No one has tested him tonight. They try to come outside this time and up to the 20-21-yard line. Jason Cooper just finds no running room. Again, the balls swarm all over him, led by big Paul Yatkowski.
From Winnipeg, Canada.
Paul is listed on the program, in your program, ladies and gentlemen, as 250. He's more like 277, 278, somewhere in that neighborhood.
That was a freshman weight before he went home to Winnipeg for the winter.
Looking now at a third down. Louisiana Tech, 13 rushes for 8 yards. Back to throw over the middle. It's incomplete. Minus 8 yards, I should say. 13 attempts for minus 8 yards for Louisiana Tech, and an incompleted pass that time. Take a look at the pressure, Condridge. They pour in.
From the shotgun with just a 3-step drop, you should be able to get the ball off. But I tell you, this is what you don't see about quarterbacks that makes you realize what can happen later on. Everybody has a tendency to watch the ball. The quarterbacks are getting popped all the time, and that takes a toll on your body. It makes you throw a little earlier the next time. It makes you think about that late hit.
One of the guys putting the heat on him was Steve White, who expected to have a pretty good year at defensive line. Again, the ball's almost full off the block. Corey Fleming settles under it, catches it in a crowd, spins, can't find much running room. Bold move, though. Corey caught it with a defender right in his face. He does have the good hands, and that's why he's back there. 36-yard punt, return 3 yards.
Great effort, great layout there. Who was it?
Who was that sail by him? I believe it might have been Jester. I think it might have been.
That's the way you do it. You kick at you lay out at a point in front of the kicker, not at the kicker.
Tulane scored 17 points on that vaunted Tide defense tonight. They're probably not going to win that ball game, but at least they're showing some offense against the Tide. Here's a pass out in the flat, and it's complete. Knocked down immediately with the football out there is David Horn.
Here's a look at the 2-minute offense by Tennessee. This is a drill that every team practices, and this is a good time to execute it. Just see how your players are going to react under pressure when time's running out.
Keith Shuler fires in the flat and complete to Horn again. His tight end, and the knee is down right where he caught it, is the official ruling there. Horn, by the way, missed quite a bit of practice time this year. He was injured, and then I think had a little bit of a flu bug problem for a while. He missed 4 or 5 practice sessions, but he's a good, solid performer. Does his job, primarily blocking, of course, in the Tennessee scheme of things, but when he has to, he can catch the football. Shuler back, got time, got a receiver. Faulkner got across the 30 to the 28-yard line. Craig Faulkner driven down at that point as the safeties close in on him, but the big yardage was there. We're coming up on a minute. Well, the clock has stopped at a minute 21 on that play as the chains moved downfield. That, of course, stops the clock. They reset it, and now the clock starts again. First down and 10.
That's great time management by the Tennessee offense. And you make sure you get up to
Mose Phillips. First at speed there.
First. But as I was saying, time management, as you can see, Shuler's getting his team up to the line of scrimmage. Even though the chains are moving, while the chains are moving, he's getting a signal from the sideline. And then the play will be run, and you don't waste time that way. If you get up to the line and get set. Well, they do take a timeout now.
It comes with 1 minute 3 seconds remaining in the first half of play. The Volunteers on top 29-0. They did have 1 touchdown call back when Corey Fleming stepped on the out-of-bounds line, but he came right back and caught one in the deep part of the back of the end zone. And so it's just been a good night all the way around for the Volunteers, you would think, from our point of view up here. Of course, the coaches will look at it differently and make their judgment, but certainly they can't be disappointed in the score. And I think the fans have had a chance to see a rather diversified offense here, Condridge, and I think that's what they really wanted.
Well, they really did, and what they were really concerned about, I'm talking to a lot of people, they weren't really happy with some of the things that were happening with the offense in the last couple of years, and probably earlier than that. They wanted something to be open up. They wanted somebody not to be afraid to go deep. They didn't like the conservatism that was here before, and I think Philip Fulmer is showing that, hey, I'm willing to go out on the edge a little bit and let's play football.
Now look at this formation. They're spread out all over the field. Receivers 2 on the far side, 2 on the near side, 1 running back. And Shuler throws to that back, and he's down inside the 10. Mose Phillips to about the 9-yard line. So they look at the clock. It shows 52 seconds to go. Quickly, they get back with no huddle.
See, the time's not in, and they're already at the line of scrimmage. To get that play off, it took them 4 seconds. That's great time management.
And that's a touchdown. Mose Phillips right up the gut. Good blocking in the middle that time, and then good running by Mose when he hit about the 3-yard line. He could smell the checkerboard end zone, and there was no denying him then. Volunteers up it now to 35-0 with the extra point coming up by John Bexford. 34 seconds remaining in the first half. We'll talk with Doug Dickey here at halftime. There's the extra point. John Bexford is automatic. And he's through, and it's 36-0. The Volunteers leading Louisiana Tech.
Well, you talk about time management. Mose Phillips threw a shoe on the last play, got his shoe back on, scored a touchdown, 4 seconds. It's just a little quick trap, step back, as you can see, little X block, good block right there, breaks an arm tackle, and then that's a guy that's hungry for the end zone. Mose Phillips scores.
Good block you were talking about was thrown by Kevin Mays.
Kevin Mays and Bubba Miller with an X block, and tell you, Tennessee offensive linemen are getting a good test.
54 yards, 6 plays. Took a minute 42 to complete that job for the Volunteers, covering the 54 yards rather quickly. The time management thing you were talking about, Condridge, a minute 42, and they used it wisely.
Yes, they did.
Volunteers will be kicking off. Now, Joey Chapman, number 20, will kick off for Tennessee. There's Joey. Tennessee deep in the kicking department and talented in the kicking department. This one's going to be one of those hard-to-handle jobs, perhaps. Taken at the 8-yard line. Oh, running room here up across the 25, 26, 27-yard line. And that's where the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech will put it in play. 26 seconds to see if they can do anything here. 23-yard return that time.
Well, I think the reason you saw Joey Chapman kick off is because Tennessee is taking advantage of every situation they get into. And what they want to do there is kick the ball, squib it so they can run more time off of the clock instead of kicking it all the way in the end zone and not running any time off the clock. So they're taking advantage of every situation put in front of them tonight.
Lawrence did a pretty good job of returning it. This time they just slide off right tackle out there. Obviously, they want to put the ball in the air and give Tennessee another opportunity. With the clock running now at 14 seconds. Jason Cooper, the ball carrier, down to 9 seconds. And I don't think we'll have another play. I think the Volunteers are going to go to the locker room, and they are. Tennessee leading at halftime by a score of 36-0 over Louisiana Tech. Remember, this Tech team was number 4 in the nation last year in defense, but in all fairness, they lost an awful lot of players. 7 of their players wound up in the NFL. 4 of them were drafted and 3 signed as free agents, and I think 4 or 5 of them have made the teams. So they're trying to replace some key people, but so far they have just been totally outmanned here in the first half by the Vols. Let's go down on the sidelines now to Pat Ryan. Hi there, Pat.
Hi, I'm here with Coach Peace, Louisiana Tech. Coach, you're down 36-0. What are you looking for from your team here in the second half?
Well, just to come back and compete and hang in there. I'd like to get a little something going offensively. We had some bad breaks earlier with the fumble punt. And just try to get some offense going and see if we can make some first down.
Look for some good effort.
That's what we're looking for.
Best of luck to you, Coach. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pat Ryan, and thanks to Coach Peace. I know that's not easy to stand there and talk at halftime to Pat when you're down 36-0, because he's got to go into the dressing room and try to put the pieces back together for the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. But Tennessee with a very impressive first half, playing an awful lot of people here and rolling up the score 36-0. Playing two quarterbacks. Condridge, we probably will see another quarterback before the night is over.
I think that's a possibility, and what Tennessee has had an opportunity to do in this first half is address a lot of situations that they wouldn't normally get in a practice situation. They get to do it in a game. Punt return, kickoff coverage, things like playing different people, no back situation with their offense, doing their 2-minute drill. So they've gotten to do a lot of things in this first half that they really like to get on film and really be able to coach the players on it when this game is over.
All right, we'll be back here. We'll talk with the athletic director, Doug Dickey, in just a moment. But right now, we're going to take a break here at halftime and listen to a message. Again, the score is at halftime, the Tennessee Volunteers 36 and Louisiana Tech nothing.
Relive the electrifying moments in Tennessee football history with the new Best of the Big Orange Home Video Collector Series. Start your collection with Volume 1, The Great Fall Wide Receivers. Watch 60 minutes of spectacular pass plays, acrobatic catches, and up-close interviews with Vol great Stanley Morgan, Larry Sievers, Willie Gault, plus many more. It's the very first volume in a video series on Tennessee football, and it's yours for only $19.99. Now on sale at JCPenney or by dialing 1-800-488-3883.
Well, it is halftime. We have a special guest in the booth with us here, the Director of Athletics at the University of Tennessee, Doug Dickey. And, Doug, you've got to be pleased with what you've seen here so far in the first half. First of all, you've seen a lot of people.
Well, I guess if you said go to the blackboard, draw up the first game, this would be about it. You go 36-0, a sellout crowd. Everybody looks like they're managing themselves well, and except for the scoreboard on the south end of the stadium, we're doing fine.
I guess coming into this ball game, Philip wanted to, regardless of the score, see a lot of different people because he had expressed some concern about depth at positions, not so much in the front line people, but depth in the secondary and depth on the offensive line. So even though the score is kind of out of hand right now, had it been closer, he probably still would have put those people in there, wouldn't he?
Well, I think our football team is playing very sharply. Obviously, we have some skilled players, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, who can play the game well. There's others in that mix, Billy Williams, newcomers in the mix, but we really have most people in positions who have done it before out there, and they're playing well tonight. The linemen are a mixture of seniors. People say, well, you lost all these people in defense, but we have 4 seniors in the starting defensive line, so they've been around. The guys, they shave every day, all of them. And so they're people that know how to play the game. The offensive linemen have some good experience. They're relatively young as college players go, but they have a good experience level as sophomores. They've played a full year, all of them. So it makes a difference how much experience you've had. We're playing at home. It's not a hostile crowd. It's a friendly crowd. And we've got the right mix, I think, to get a good start on the year.
This is the 25th anniversary of the artificial turf, and I think we have some video we'll see here in a moment of going back 25 years. Of course, it's all going to be, here it is being installed. Doug, does that bring back some memories there?
Well, it does. I can remember when Bob Woodruff said, come get in the airplane with me. I want you to go show you something. We went up to Minneapolis and looked at that 3M product that they put down originally, which was tartan turf. And this lasted about a couple years, and it turned black, and then we got a new version of it, and we've been through about 4 generations of artificial turf here of various kinds. It's been a very practical product in the way that it is easy to manage the facility, the product. As the time has gone by, there have been some feelings by people that, well, certain players wouldn't play if you had artificial turf. I'm not sure how true that is, but you can't gamble.
And we have 4 competitors in our conference who might sing that song a little bit. And so we have to be sure that, in effect, we are competitive with our surface. At the same time, the grass industry's done a good job of developing products that I think will hold up better than they used to hold up.
That footage, by the way, you saw some action there. That was against Georgia. The first game played, best I remember, that ended in a tie. Doug, that seems like only yesterday. Time's flying when you're having fun, isn't it?
Well, it was a 17-17 tie, I believe, the first game.
What about the future? Everything looks great right here. The facilities at Tennessee, I think, are second to none in the nation, but you can never let up, can you? There's always something.
The future depends upon the ability of our teams to continue to be competitive, of our coaches to manage it right, our fans to continue to support us and buy the tickets and be in our development programs. And it's a package of people, of fans, players, administration, all working together. And right now, tonight, everybody has to feel good. Jim Sparks and the new director of the band has it looking good, and everybody has to be happy.
Well, looking at the conference, too, no reason to expect anything other than another banner year. Of course, last year, a national championship, great attendance around the league, and a great competitive situation. I think we're going to have it again.
Well, Bob, there's the Southeastern Conference sponsors 18 sports. And last year, we had 9 national champions, and 6 teams finished second. So of the 18 championships possible, we were first or second 15 times in the Southeastern Conference. So the competitiveness of this league is in a class by itself across the country. And as long as that type of competition exists, I think the fans are going to turn out and support it. People are going to continue to come and perform in that atmosphere. And I really think we have a very, very healthy conference that financially is sound, and the academic level of admission requirements that have gone up are giving us better students in our mix. And as a result, there's some pressure in the high schools to improve their performance, getting the athletes here better. And so we're going to continue, I think, to have better graduation rates and a high performance level.
Great job, and good to have you with us at halftime here, and we thank you very much.
Say hello, and especially to Ken and Erica. And I don't know how they got there, but they are 2 Tennessee fans that are stuck in Bossier City, Louisiana. And I'm sure they're all having a great time down there. But, hey, enjoy the game. We'll just bring the second half to you.
I'm sure those 2 Tennessee fans may be rubbing it in a bit right now.
Probably.
All right, let's see what Tech can do. This is a well-coached ball club. You can't do anything with that kickoff, though. It's all the way into the end zone. And wisely, the receiver there, Redmond, just nails it down into the end zone and can't come out of there with it. They'll put it in play at the 20-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 to go for Louisiana Tech as the Volunteers get ready to play defense once again, which they have done quite well here in the first half of play. Early seconds now, just getting underway in the second half. The rain has stayed away. It's been a very pleasant night here. We've had rather high humidity today in Knoxville and in East Tennessee, but the breeze has been pretty good, so it's not bad. Here's Aaron Ferguson's stats on the first half. He's back at quarterback. He alternated some late in the first half with a freshman. Nice run this time. Perhaps the best play of the night for Louisiana Tech. Eric Redmond finding a little daylight that time. Shot all the way up to the 29-yard line.
That's just a nice blocking up front. This is one of the things that Coach Peace was talking about. He wanted to come out and establish some positive things, and this is exactly what Coach Fulmer doesn't want to see. He doesn't want to see any sign of complacency, but this Louisiana Tech team is not going to quit. They're going to come out and try to establish some positive things.
This time they try to slide out here on the left side, find a little bit of daylight, get across the line of scrimmage, and pick up a couple more before being run out of bounds. Eric Redmond, the ball carrier that time. Leading the attack was Ronald Davis coming up from the right corner position. Where's number 1? There's Redmond, number 22, who's coming off. He's been alternating with Cooper at tailback. Cooper the starter. Redmond has seen just about as much action, though, as Cooper tonight. There's Ferguson bringing his ball club out of there. He's a senior, 6'4", from Enid, Oklahoma. Back to throw. Got a little time and got a man out there, but overthrew him. Overthrew his intended receiver, who was Chad McKee.
Well, I think that's the first time Ferguson has had a chance to stand there read the defense and make a throw without ending up on his back. And he just got a little, his stride was a little too much that time, and the ball went high on him. But that was a good read to just get the throw down a little bit, and that's a completion.
Victor Brown and Jason Parker are the deep defenders for Tennessee. They're the safeties. The original starters are back in there. This time they go out of the shotgun, and Ferguson fires out of the flat to McKee. It's complete, and he has run out of bounds after picking up a first down at the 48-yard line of the Bulldogs. So he spotted his receiver that time and got it down where he could pull it down, and McKee did so and picked up the yardage.
This is a positive drive so far. Things are happening. They're getting a little play action pass. They mixed the run in, and I think they're trying to exploit the short side of the field on the Tennessee defense, and they're doing a pretty good job of it right now.
First down and 10 to go. Early in the second half of play, Louisiana Tech with by far their best offensive showing of the night. Again, it's a completed pass and run out of bounds. Davis runs the receiver out of bounds, and the receiver is Brian Francis, 5'11", 180-pound senior. But moving the football. Take a look, Condridge. How are they getting open here?
Well, they're just basically flooding the short side of the field. They're going to the flat area, running a wide receiver down the field, which is taking the coverage back. And the flat area is something that you give up when you're 36-0 ahead.
2 first downs, already more than they had in the first half. This time the Tennessee defense stacks up everything as Jason Cooper tried to slide off his right guard and tackle. And Volunteers were all over the place. Yatkowski there, Reggie Ingram there. Everybody on the left side closed that one down quickly. There's Kidd, number 42, who was in that picture also. So Louisiana Tech brings it up after being unable to move on the ground. You would expect them to go back in the air, where they had a little bit of success. And now Ferguson back out of the shotgun, firing. It's incomplete, intercepted by Jason Parker. Or is it Davis? It's Davis. No, I was right the first time. Jason Parker. Number 7 and number 1 looked a little confusing there for a second, but it was our first call, Jason Parker. Take a look, Condridge. He was in the right spot.
Right spot, but that's one of the reasons that the flat was open before, because Ronald Davis is doing what we call peeking and cheating. He's playing in between. He got underneath the corner route and just basically tipped it, and that was just your basic tip drill, and Oski, interception.
Jason Parker, who had a good year last year as a freshman. Here's a long one out in the flat. Oh, what a throw. What a throw.
Well,
Kendrick Jones.
The hash marks have never bothered Heath Shuler. And putting them in a little bit is only going to enhance his arm. But this is a major league throw, and there was no hesitation, and that's on the rope. And that's just that's the way you do it.
NFL scouts just went to the notebook on that one and jotted that down.
Well, there's a few guys in the NFL that wouldn't even try that.
Player come limping off that time. Who was that? Chris Gray, I believe, number 16. There's Shuler's numbers for the night. 12 out of 22, 142. A couple of touchdowns, had a couple dropped also, but really showing a major league arm on that last one. Just incredible. 3 receivers out here on the right side this time. He's flooding this area. He's going to this area. Craig Faulkner. Touchdown. Whoa.
Bob, that is another throw that a lot of NFL quarterbacks wouldn't try either.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a major league throw.
He is a Heisman candidate. There's no need in soft selling that point. I know coaches don't like to pump individuals this early in the year naturally, but my goodness, what an arm. Now Bexford, who's been automatic for a couple of years, continues automatic. It's up there and good. And the Volunteers up their lead to 43-0. After Louisiana Tech got a little spurt offensively going there, their best showing of the night, early seconds of the second half here, Tennessee with the interception came right back in March. Take a look.
This is a basic drop back. Shuler keeps the free safety in his eye path and then throws a seam pattern, which I'm sure the free safety thought he had a chance to get because he was in fairly good position. He was in the middle of the field, but when you throw a rocket like that, it just barely misses. And on the chalkboard, they would tell you not to throw that ball.
Well, Condrich, 2 plays, 71 yards, took 14 seconds, 58 yards, Shuler to Faulkner.
Just
there you go.
There, now that's a celebration that's good. That's positive and good for the game.
All right.
But when you need a choreographer to celebrate, that needs to be penalized.
Tennessee will be kicking off now. And standing deep back there, number 41, is Todd Sumrall. There's Bexford, number 10, who missed spring practice. Missed the semester. Remember, had a little water balloon incident there, but
he keeps kicking them in the end zone like that. They'll forget about the water balloon.
Yeah, that's right. With one exception tonight, I think all of them have gone deep into the end zone. And Redmond, number 22, just has no chance to come out of there and wisely lets it fall. Actually, kind of bobbled it there for a second, but a teammate fell on it, and now Louisiana Tech will put it in play. 12-19 remaining in the third quarter of play. Tennessee on top, 43-0. And Louisiana Tech, let's see if they can continue their little offensive spurt. They looked pretty good there until the tipped ball, and Jason Parker came up with the interception. Out of the I formation, Ferguson gives it, fakes it to the last man in the I. He's in trouble. He's in big, big trouble, and he's smothered. Volunteers all over him. Leland Taylor was in there. There's a name that you're going to be hearing a lot about in the days ahead for Tennessee. Tremendous talent.
This is just a little basic play action pass. And
there's Leland.
they tried to get away from what they've been doing in the first drive. The first drive, they took what the Tennessee defense was giving them, which was just the little short flat passes. But take a look at this after the ball's gone.
Shane Burton is the man who bats it down, number 84, and Leland Taylor's the man who hits him.
That's not an easy job, folks. That's
all right, Ferguson back to throw, gets rid of it quickly this time. Nice pass out of the flat. It's complete and out of bounds.
That's exactly what the Tennessee defense is willing to give up now. And what's going to happen is Louisiana Tech's got to be patient and take that, and make the Tennessee defense adjust. Until they stop it, keep throwing it. Don't get greedy.
Was the receiver that time. Ferguson's 3 out of 11 for 30 yards. We have the wave starting here.
I think they need a penalty for that, too.
We can't do anything to stop it here. I wish we could. In the shotgun, here comes Ferguson back. Got time. Intercepted. Tennessee was waiting for it. Intercepting is George Kidd. Boy, Kidd was not going to be fooled on that one. You went to the well one time too many there, Conry.
One time too many to the same place. Because flat is open on both sides of the field, but you can't just you can't telegraph what you're doing. George Kidd he kind of coaxed him into throwing that ball because he was basically running that way, and he just kind of choked it down, knowing that the ball was going to be thrown, and just stepped in for an interception. That's a great play.
Looked a little bit like a running back, which he was at one time. Back in high school, here's the handoff. This time they go on the left side. Big hole, gaping hole. Little man Stewart still churning and driving down to about the 16-yard line. So Hayden has played well. Garner has played well. Phillips, now little man says it's my turn.
Craig Cokewood at quarterback is just an eye-back lead. And little man is getting his opportunity, and he's going to take advantage of it because there's three running backs that Tennessee's going to need to be competitive in the Southeastern Conference.
Gary Colquitt at quarterback. Hands off on the right side. They try this time, and they'll find a little bit of daylight in there. James Stewart. Once again, let's go down on the sidelines to Pat Ryan. Pat?
Yeah, Mario Brunson was injured slightly in the first half. He's over on the sideline in street clothes. I talked to the trainers. He's got a slightly bruised shoulder and obviously won't return today, but will be back next week.
Well, let's hope so. They need him against Georgia, that's for sure. Great blocker. One of the most punishing men on the team, the defenders will tell you. Stewart 4 times for 33 yards. This time down to about the 6-yard line. James Little Man Stewart carrying the football once again.
There's no substitute for fresh legs. I'm telling you, when you've got 3 that you can run in and out, running backs that is, and keep them all fresh and keep them hungry, because nobody can be complacent because they all 3 can play.
They got fresh legs at fullback too. Number 35 in your picture there is Cleon Mitchell, who is a sophomore. He weighs 247 pounds.
This
6'1".
This guy's a specimen. If he can just mature, he can give Mario a break every once in a while, because he's what you want at fullback. A big guy like that runs 4.6.
All right, he leads Stewart into the hole, and Stewart crashes down to about the 5, maybe a shade inside before he is knocked down. Getting up was Bubba Miller, big number 71, who was also leading the charge that time from the center position. Number 50 in the middle of your picture, there's a very good solid player for Louisiana Tech, Fred Price, 6'3", 220-pounder from Monroe, Louisiana. They've got good linebackers, just not enough of them, not very deep there, and those guys probably are beginning to wear down. 5th play of the drive is coming up for Jerry Colquitt and the Tennessee offense. He fakes it, then
run it in.
Throws it in the end zone. Touchdown! Benji Shuler, the other Shuler. True freshman.
That was a great decision by Jerry Colquitt. He had a chance to run it in and be safe, but he's a quarterback, and you want to get those touchdown passes under your belt, because that's what you're expected to do, not to be a running back. You got 3 running backs that can do it, but he went the route of a quarterback, which is a throw to touchdown. Benji Shuler, you'll hear from him.
The extra point is up and good, and the Volunteers run their lead up now to 50-0, and we've got several players tonight who the redshirt question has already been answered. There you see it, 9:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. Volunteers on top 50-0. Benji Shuler has played. Torrey Noel has played. Raymond Austin and some others. Take a look at the replay.
Good running back fake. There's Benji Shuler in the end zone, makes the catch. Got to be excited about your first touchdown, especially when your brother's having such a great night.
Ironically, it wasn't his brother who threw it, though.
That's right.
Colquitt in there for Heath Shuler. 35 yards, 5 plays. Took 2:30 off of the clock to do that. Nice drive by Colquitt. And it's good to have Jerry Colquitt. Jerry Colquitt be starting for a lot of football teams around the country.
There is no doubt about that. And, the courage of the young man that could stick here with all the hype with Heath and Todd Helton coming in, turning down the baseball. There was a lot of pressure on Jerry, and he's going through a trying time, but he stuck it out, and good things are going to happen to him. He might not play a lot, but then again, he might play the majority of the time. You never know what's going to happen with injuries.
All right, Bexford nails another one. I tell you what, people on the specialty teams, the kick team, you can't imagine how much they'd love to see that.
Oh.
No contact. You just go downfield and watch it sail in the deep part of the end zone. So that is a terrific weapon on Tennessee's side. Final score, Alabama opens defense of the national title with a 31-17 win. That game was played in Birmingham. Florida State leading Duke in the 2nd quarter, 13-0. Florida State opened with a very impressive win last week up at the Meadowlands against Kansas. Here's the handoff. This time they try to slide outside right tackle, find a little bit of running room. Eric Redmond, the ball carrier. And Tennessee knocks him down after he gets up 2 or 3 yards. They pull it back and spot it down at about the 24-yard line. Scott Gallion was one of the first players to hit him. Scott Gallion is number 93, and he's a terrific-looking linebacker prospect. He's had a fabulous fall. Coaches love his style. Very fierce man. Back to throw as Ferguson fires over the middle. It's incomplete, in and out of the hands of the receiver, Brian Francis. Francis probably should have pulled that one down, but it was a little high. And he could probably hear some footsteps.
Without a doubt. There's
Florida rolling 44-6. Tennessee plays down in Gainesville in a couple of weeks, and what may be the decider in the Eastern Division.
Could be.
But remember, last year we thought Tennessee had it wrapped up, and we thought Georgia had it wrapped up, and then Florida came along and won it with a couple of losses. So with the divisions now set up the way they are, anything can happen. It's going to be an exciting every week. There's Ferguson under pressure, gets it away. Nice pass out on the flat, big yardage. Rolled up across midfield down into Tennessee territory before he's finally run out of bounds. Chad McKee, and a freshman. There's another true freshman. You can forget about the red shirt, and he too is from Louisiana. Shane Beckno was the man who chased him down.
This is just a little crossing pattern from the other side of the field, and when you do that, that's the closest you can come to a legalized pick, and they won't get called, and you can break really free, and that's what happened right there.
Actually,
the other side.
Actually, it was Raymond Austin who made the tackle, and Beckno was right behind him. Here is Ferguson flushed out of the pocket, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and gets a little down to about the 44-yard line. First time in Tennessee territory, Condridge, so they're breaking new ground here.
Yes, and they're very patient on this drive. They're not getting impatient when they come up with a second and long situation. They're doing the things that the Tennessee defense is giving them, and with the score the way it is, they're going to give them a lot of underneath stuff, and they've just got to take that. I mean, you know, you can't. They're playing back and not going to give you the big play. So Aaron Ferguson has just got to be patient, get a positive drive going, take them down and score.
He's limping off. I think he may have twisted an ankle or something there. It doesn't seem to be serious, but I believe they're going to have to take him out of there. We also see a new wide receiver, Danny Willis, who is entering the lineup now. And here comes number 11 in. That is Jason Martin. So they're going to have to make a switch at quarterback, at least for the time being. Ferguson was hit that time, apparently kind of twisted a knee or an ankle. He was walking around but limping a little bit. I don't think it's anything serious. Back in the shotgun. Ooh, what a shot, but he got his pass away. It's complete. Nice play that time. Just to stay alive. The pass was complete to Spencer Hurd. And a real vicious hit that time. Let's see if we can pick that up. Ooh, number 64 pouring in that time for the Tennessee Vols. That's Steve White.
I'm going to tell you, this is one of those chin shots. You get hit right in the front, and that helmet slides up and hits you right underneath the chin. And that almost is categorized as a D-cleater. But since we're on turf, it'd be a D-turf shoe or something like that.
It's something like that,
It was a vicious hit.
It's something like hurting, I think, is what it is.
But I tell you what, Jason Martin made a heck of a throw to stand in there knowing you're going to get hit like that. That's how you separate the guys that want to be quarterbacks and the guys that are. They can all drop back there and throw it when nobody's hitting them in the mouth with a helmet. But when you can stand back there and do that, then you really want to play the position.
Well, they're going to have to go to Nader, who is a sophomore coming in now. Take a look at Steve White pouring in. He's going to be okay, I'm sure, but you know, for the second, he's seeing stars, and he's hearing strange music, and maybe even contact with that lost Mars probe right now. I don't know, but he's all right.
I've been there. He'll be okay. Showed a lot of courage standing there.
There's McKee checking back into the lineup, number 39. He's been a very effective receiver here in the second half. There's Ferguson. He's still in a little bit of pain, a little groggy. Wade Hill, is that who's in right now? Number 9. Wade Hill has entered at quarterback. He's a junior, 6'3", 208 pounds, from Waldron, Arkansas. The third quarterback out of the Louisiana Tech lineup here tonight, playing out of necessity here because 2 others have gone down injured. There's Eric Redmond hit by Leland Taylor. And also in on the tackle for Tennessee was Nick Jester. It's good to see Taylor in there. He's part of the future. Tennessee's got very few seniors, but the ones they do have, Condridge, are on the defensive line. So they got to get some youngsters in there. A lot of playing time this season.
They've got to grow up quick. preferably in the next 2 weeks. But that might be asking a little much. But that's the plan, I can tell you that.
2nd down and 9 out of the flat to Francis. Francis got yardage down inside the 20 and down to about the 16 or 17-yard line before they run him out of bounds. Wade Hill, junior quarterback, throwing, and Torrey Noel, a true freshman from Memphis, Tennessee, ran him out of bounds. So a number of true freshmen have seen action tonight, and as we expected, most of them in the secondary. Although Benji Shuler, a receiver, has come out of a redshirt year for Tennessee also. Turned out that when they took a look at Benji in the fall, they realized he could catch everything in sight. Here's a little bit of a mix-up. Quarterback rolls to his right, throws over there, and the receiver made a good catch. Francis, he's smothered immediately. Brian Francis by Quincy Prigmore, who made the stop. Quincy is a converted quarterback who was moved to safety and playing number 2 unit this fall right now and doing a very good job. He's got some pretty good foot speed. It's just a matter of getting used to Condridge, that position, but he's a good athlete.
Oh, yeah, he can make the adjustment. I tell you what, Mr. Nader showed me a little something on that throw. That was a heck of a throw going right, throwing it right on the money with Quincy Prigmore right there in coverage.
All right, let's take a look at the offense. This time it's going to sputter. This time the pass by Wade Hill was a little too short, may have got tipped. Let's go down to Pat. Pat?
Yeah, Bob, we're down here on the sidelines with Aaron Ferguson and the other quarterback, Martin. Looks like they're taping Ferguson back up. He might go back in, but I don't believe Martin even knows where he's at just at the moment. So I think he's probably done for the day.
Okay, 4 catches, by the way, for Brian Francis for 41 yards. So he perhaps has been the best of the offensive weapons for the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. They're in the gun again, and Hill is back to throw. Got some pressure. It's going to be blown dead.
Pat, I think we can both sympathize with Mr. Martin.
Are you saying the old bell has been rung a few times, Condridge?
Oh.
Ball start on the offense. Louisiana Tech. It'll set them back 5. The clock shows 5:53 remaining in quarter number 3 here at Neyland Stadium. Packed, full house, sellout, 95,000 plus for the season opener. They play a night game next week. Coming into town will be Georgia Bulldogs. Very mad Bulldog after being upset in Athens today by South Carolina, 23-21. And penalties now, 3 for 15 yards, both teams. As a matter of fact, same on those stats. Here's Hill in the pocket. No longer he fires out in the flat. He was down. I believe they may reel him down, but they may let him get away with it. He was in the grasp in the NFL anyway.
Well, no, I think that's a legit throw.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's by the way, that's Steve White again, who's showing the coaching staff something there at defensive end. Coach Burney has done a fabulous job in getting this unit on the defensive line ready to play this fall.
I tell you, Coach Burney is a very intimidating figure, too. He is a guy that,
intercepted by Raymond Austin. The true freshman gets the feel of what it's like in big-time football. There he is.
And if he keeps his feet, he might go in the record book somewhere, because nobody was out there but him.
Got tipped. Let's watch it on the replay here.
Quincy Prigmore gets the tip.
Watch. Nick Jester.
Ouch.
Piling in. Tennessee has intercepted 3 passes now tonight.
That is not a fun part of being a quarterback. And the worst thing is the first 2 quarterbacks are already injured. So basically, Mr. Nader's got the rest of the day.
Well, this time the Bulldogs jam up the middle. Tennessee unable to pick up any yardage. James Stewart trying it, and they're trying to fight for something, but it didn't happen. Tell you what, the Louisiana Tech quarterbacks tonight, Condridge, you're right, they have taken a physical pounding. An assault and battery time out there tonight on the Bulldog quarterbacks, and 2 of them are on the sidelines hurting right now. There's the story. 50-0 balls with a little over 4 minutes remaining in quarter number 3. Again, Colquitt is in at quarterback, and he hands off this time. And a little bit of yardage for a little man as he slides outside his tackle and crosses the 15 to the 16-yard line. There's James Stewart. He's a pretty good prospect, too, if they ever needed him to play on the defensive side of the football. Condridge, they even talked a little bit about that this fall, so that tells you about little man's athletic ability. He can move to that side if they ever needed him to.
But I tell you, I would rather have 3 healthy, fresh running backs anytime than another defensive back. But that's why you and I are up here, I guess.
That's right. There's little man running out of bounds this time, but across the, let's see where they finally spot it down. It's enough for a first down. As they move the chains, they spotted at the 24-yard line. There he is, 9 times, 50 yards for James Littleman Stewart. Doing a nice job. All of the ball tailbacks tonight have looked very good. Here's Colquitt rolling to his left and looking and firing nicely. Is it complete? Yes, it is. Complete to Nilo Sylvan. Fans would enjoy seeing Nilo maybe catch one over the middle to see what he can do with it. He's a great open field runner. Take a look, Condry.
This is a good play by Jerry Colquitt because he sells the counter. One thing about this play, you're going to sprint to the field anyway. What you've got to do is take your time, sell the fake, and then sprint out, and it gives the play a chance to open up, which it did. Then he make a great throw. Put it right in there. It's a complete.
Oh, breaking it off the side and still fighting for yardage is Aaron Hayden. Beautiful running by Aaron. I'll tell you, he's perhaps been the most impressive of the tailbacks tonight, in my opinion, Condridge.
Well, from seeing him this winter, here's just a good blocking up front. But Aaron is the type of guy that he works so hard this offseason. He put on about 15 pounds. He looks like a fullback with speed, and he's just really accepted this challenge of the 3 running back system, and he plans to find his niche in it. 108 yards and 8 carries. I tell you, that's not a bad day at the office for sharing it with 2 other guys.
Just added a few more as he sails down to about the 25-yard line. By the way, Nilo Sylvan, for those of you watching and listening tonight in Louisiana, is from your state, Covington. 4 of the Volunteers are from Louisiana. There's the Tennessee sideline. Coach Randy Sanders motioning for some fresh people to get ready to come into the ball game.
Well, I saw a definite sign of today's over. Heath Shuler had his flak jacket unloosed, and he's giving signals now. I don't think we'll see him again. The next sign is when you put the baseball cap on, then it's really over.
There's Aaron Hayden showing that he does have power, straight ahead running that time, and ducking his head and picking up a couple of extra yardage as a result of just sheer strength.
Bob, you think we'll see Todd Helton tonight?
I would thought so by now, but I imagine in the 4th quarter we will. It's minute 52 to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Here's the pitch back this time. They're trying to go wide, looking for some running room. Is Eric Lane, yet another tailback in. There's Eric, number 5, who ran well in the spring, and we thought he might get into some action tonight, and indeed he has.
You think any Major League scouts are saying wait till late in the 4th quarter to put Helton in?
You know, with the way San Diego is going right now, he'd be starting in San Diego right now if he had.
Well, he'd probably be making too much money and have to. Wow. Wow.
See, 489 yards, Louisiana Tech 123. Straight up the middle they go again. Power football, this time with Cleon Mitchell. 6'1", 247-pound fullback, sophomore, who is the heir apparent, I guess, to Mario Brunson as far as blocking ability is concerned next year in the scheme of things, and he'll play a lot this year.
Cleon has to mature and realize that his position is going to be fullback, and that he's not going to be able to be the tailback that he wants to be, because he's going to have to be a big power running fullback and a great blocker.
10th play in the drive coming up right here for the Vols. And it's our football straight ahead once again. This time Mose Phillips, and he's down to around the 11 or 12-yard line as they unstack. There's number 19. I talked to Mose a couple of weeks ago and asked him about playing quarterback in high school, and he said, I've got a little heavy for quarterback right now.
Well, they call him the pizza man around the dorm. He's every time that late night comes by, that's Mose.
All right, 4th down and 2. Let's see what the play has. Some play's been sent in from the sidelines here for Jerry, and right now we have apparently an official timeout.
Yeah, I think the clock wasn't set.
That's apparently they got one more play. No, they're saying now it is the end of the quarter. So after 3 quarters of play here at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville on Video Seat, we're glad to have you with us tonight. Tennessee 50, Louisiana Tech nothing. Louisiana Tech back on their heels all night long, thanks to the surging offense of Tennessee, and on the other side of the football, the Tennessee defense has just pretty well choked down everything that Louisiana Tech has attempted. Hello there. 50-0 now as the Vols brace for the 4th quarter. After seeing a couple of those Shuler passes tonight, Condridge, what would the Georgia scouts here be saying?
Well, one thing for sure is whenever Tennessee's on either hash, don't count out the wide side of the field, because with Shuler behind the center, you have to play from sideline to sideline. That wasn't necessarily the case here, all the time years ago. But now it's if you give up the quick out to the field, he'll take the quick out to the field every time.
All right. We're set to go in the 4th quarter. Here's the handoff, bouncing outside. Not much running room this time. Going to be ripped out of bounds basically at the line of scrimmage. Carrying the ball was Eric Lane, 6 foot, 207-pound freshman, number 5 there. Chased out of bounds, and so.
Now see, that looks like a play that was, well, it just didn't work. But that freshman, Eric Lane, will learn a lesson when he goes to the film room, because you don't bounce a play like that outside when there are 2 people outside of it. You duck it up inside,
2 yards
get what
to
you
go,
can get, and that's a freshman mistake, but that's something that in the film session next week will entitle Mr. Lane to get a little airtime and get a little scolding, get a little coaching.
So he came up short of the first, and the Vols turn it over. 1st down and 10 to go now with the ball on the Louisiana Tech 12-yard line. This time they try to slide outside their left tackle, and Tennessee just closes down everything out there. Jason Cooper was the ball carrier, or was it Jason Martin? Cooper. Martin is back in at quarterback, number 11. So he's the guy who had his bell rung earlier. It's good to see him back out there. I had some serious doubts about him returning. In fact, you look at a play like that, first thing you think about, Condridge, is concussion, but obviously just maybe had the wind knocked out of him and dazed a little bit. He's back and okay now.
That's good to see.
He's going to step back into the shotgun. He's 3 quarterbacks tonight. He fires out the flat, and the receiver caught it, and he is nailed immediately. Out there making the tackle for the Volunteers is the true freshman Torrey Noel. But the receiver hangs on to the football, and with 13:51 to go, just a little bit of a breath of fresh air, shall we say, for the Bulldogs as they move it a little bit upfield. They still need a couple of yards to go for a 1st down. 50-0. Volunteers on top. Louisiana Tech with the football. The man in motion out here to the right. Pitch to it. Run behind the man in motion. Try to turn the corner for the first. I believe they may have it. Looks like he picked up his 1st down as Redmond made the move that time. Let's go down on the sidelines where Pat Ryan is standing close to the action. Pat?
Yeah, I'm down here on the sidelines. Horace Morris went out earlier in the game with an apparent knee injury. They checked him out. They thought at first that he might have a torn anterior cruciate, which is obviously a very serious injury, but he was sitting here kind of joking around, and he's up walking around now, so they think that he's probably going to be okay for next week.
And let's hope so for Tennessee's sake. If you're looking at the Vols going against Eric Zier next week, that's one man you do not want to be without, Condridge.
You have to bring your pass rush when you're going against Zier.
Here's a pass behind the intended receiver. That time throwing the football for Cliff Parks was Jason Martin, and just a little bit behind him. Actually was open out there.
Antonio Robinson just got a little schooling on how to rush upfield. He was so anxious to make a tackle from the backside that he let the quarterback get outside of him. But that's another gentleman that'll get a little corrective coaching, and that's what this type of film is going to do for the Tennessee defense. These young players are going to see some of their mistakes and get a chance to get coached up on the field in the film session.
Antonio Robinson is from Memphis. He's a junior college transfer. Here's the pass over the middle of Francis, complete and knocked down immediately. Pretty good yardage this time, maybe enough for another first down. Catching the football again was Brian Francis, number 7, who's had a very good night. He's been about it as far as the receiving corps is concerned. People who can make move the chains anyway, and he did again. It's first down. 12:26 and the clock running remaining in the contest. Louisiana Tech with the football. Tennessee with a lot of fresh people out there defensively, some of them true freshmen. Once again, they go with a shotgun on first down and 10. And they hand it off delay there to the tailback, and he got pretty decent yardage. Carrying the ball is Jason Cooper, and he crossed the 45 to the 46-yard line. Time of possession through 3 quarters. Tennessee 26-43. Louisiana Tech 18-17.
The Tech team is not quitting. You can still see linemen blocking downfield. That's a sign of good discipline, and even though the score is what it is, they're still competing, and they're still making every play count the best they can.
Got to admire them for that, Condridge. You're right. Exactly right. They're thin at some of the positions, and some of these kids have to be getting awfully tired, but they're still digging in and fighting. Here's the quarterback rolling back to throw, being hassled, and finally gets it away, but the pressure was a little too much, and he threw it behind the intended receiver. Jason Martin just had too much pressure on him that time. Chad McKee was the intended receiver. There's the young quarterback looking at the sidelines for some instructions.
Pass intended for Mackey, incomplete.
This team plays in the Big West Conference, which is maybe a little bit unusual for a team in Louisiana. They're playing a long ways from home in some of those ball games, but the conference situation is something that's a must in this day and time. Very few independents are left. Here's a quick pop in the middle. Nice little quick opener that time as Chad McKee shot through, or is it Jason Cooper? It's Cooper. Number 49 gets up, and making the stop that time was Quincy Prigmore coming up from safety.
Tell you, quick trap is not a bad play when you've got young players in trying to impress the coach, because they're all rushing upfield to get to the passer. They want to get that sack so you can trap them very easy.
11 minutes just went under the 11-minute mark here in the contest. 50-0. Volunteers on top. Nice to have you with us tonight here on this video seat presentation. Here's the shotgun again. Fire out the flat, complete. Once again, Cliff Parks, and he's spun down after picking up a little bit of yardage there.
Pass complete to Park.
One of the first men over there for the Vols was Sean Summers.
Sean Summers.
For their communication support during tonight's game, Video Seat would like to thank our friends at Cellular Page, your complete communications company for pagers, voicemail, and cellular phones. Thank you. 10:15 remaining in the contest, and now Louisiana Tech in Tennessee territory. They'd like to get something on the board here. Big rush by the Vols. They rushed by him. Steve White missed him one time, came back, and I think it was White who hit him after coming back. Pass falls incomplete. Spencer Hurd, the intended receiver. I like the looks of White. I'd heard some pretty good things about him in practice, and Condridge looks like he's ready to play, ready to contribute.
Showed a little eagerness there, just really aggressive, and he just kept coming. He missed him the first time, kept going, and really got a good shot of the quarterback. I mean, Jason Martin is taking some shots. He's getting the ball off, but they're picking him up after every play.
training room's going to be busy for Louisiana Tech after this game.
Lots of ice on quarterback.
Out of the gun they go again. Third down. Firing and complete. It's going to be very close to a first down. It was Cliff Parks receiving it. I think it is enough. I think they'll move the chains on this one. The Georgia game coming up next week is one of those ESPN ball games, which will start, I believe, at 7:30 Knoxville time, Eastern time zone, 6:30 Central time zone. Then the Vols after that go on the road to Gainesville for their first road trip of the year. The handoff, and this time Tennessee all over this play. Nothing doing. That's Corey Stone.
All right, that's a positive.
He's another one of those guys who's got to back up and play.
He's got to be ready to play.
Eric Redmond had no chance, as you'll see on the replay.
Corey shows good quickness here. He just he beat everybody off the ball and made a good play. Corey's got to mature and step up in a hurry to help this Tennessee defense be a depth type of defense. Corey Stone has got to be a guy to step up.
Back in the shotgun once again. Bulldogs trying to move it downfield. Long pass. Was it intercepted?
Yes.
Coming back with it is Sean Summers. He fumbles it. I think Tennessee, no, they did lose it. Well, a little comedy of errors there.
Kangaroo Court will be out with that one.
They fought around, finally intercepted it. Sean Summers came back upfield on what looked like was going to be a very decent return, maybe even a great one, and then he turned it over. And Louisiana Tech, let's try to unravel it here, Cockridge.
Well, after the interception, it's just a great play of not quitting. The receiver turns into a defensive back. And watch this, a little strip. That's perfect strip. You've got to keep the ball tucked in. When you hold it outside, you can be stripped of the ball, and I'm sure everybody has visualizations of Miami last year with that big play.
Quincy Pregame actually was the man who was the defender there. Quarterback gets away from ball defenders. Pregame tipped it, and then Summers intercepted it. That was the 13th play of the drive, and then turned around and was the first play of the drive.
Right.
50-0, Volunteers on top. The clock shows you 8 minutes, 2 seconds remaining in this contest. Louisiana Tech trying to get something on the scoreboard. And still fighting and clawing and scrapping around down there, trying to get something positive in this drive. Second down, still 10 yards to go for a first. One receiver on the left, two on the right, and out of the shotgun. Quarterback is going to be pressured again, and good defensive play that time. Breaking on the football beautifully was Nick Jester. There he is, backup linebacker who's going to see a lot of playing time this year. He's a very good one. Played last year as a freshman. He's from Delray Beach, Florida. Come the Bulldogs out, looking now at a 3rd and 10 situation. They flood the left side with receivers this time, and looking that way and firing over the middle and complete. All bounced down around the 10-yard line, intended for Chad McKee. He's had a couple of pretty nice catches tonight for Louisiana Tech, but it was not to be on this one.
That was a very interesting play. If tell you, they ran a little pick to the short side of the field, and the linebacker that was supposed to cover running back, Jason Cooper, got picked off, and he was actually standing over here on the sidelines by himself. But
are they actually going to punt,
Jason Martin didn't see it. Well, they're in the formation. I would think this. I hope this is a fake. No.
No, they're going to kick it away.
Well, they can work on the pooch kick and try to down it inside.
Well, they hit a bulldog and went on through the end zone, so it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line.
You know, you got to work on situations in reverse when things are bad for you too. You got to get that on film. You want to want to have on film how to cover a little pooch kick and get it down there, and that was an opportunity to do it because the situation was there. So I guess that's what they're looking at.
Well, 7 minutes, 41 seconds to go. They had driven down into Tennessee territory. I believe I might have gone for it on fourth, but certainly Joe Raymond Peace knows what he's doing. He's done a good job. 95,106. Was that the figure I heard? All right. Sellout here tonight for the Volunteers to open their season. Opened with great excitement across the state of Tennessee, great anticipation, and they certainly have pleased the fans so far. Here's our new quarterback.
Major League Scouts just tuned in to
there he
the
is.
video seat.
Mr. Hilton. Mr. Todd Hilton, who is a sophomore, 6'1", 194 from right here in Knoxville, of course, and is one of the better college baseball players in America. And turned down the baseball offer by the San Diego Padres. He can be drafted again, I believe, Conrad, after his junior year, right?
That's correct.
And will be. By Major League Baseball. Here's the handoff this time. They find nothing much in the middle. Eric Lane trying to go between his left guard and tackle, and it closed down rather quickly. Hilton is in a kind of a peculiar place. He's brought into the ball game, but probably will not be given the opportunity to throw the football since his team leads 50-0. So he's in a handoff situation.
Well, I tell you, the first play was a pass.
Well, that's true. I have a feeling that might have been his own, though, don't you?
Might have been a checkoff.
Bench probably sitting back about word to let's keep it down. Here he is rolling to the right this time. Little foot speed, but so does Louisiana Tech's defense. They come up and close him down, so he can't get outside. That's Scott Beasley from linebacker position who chased him down. There's Hilton going off the field. Tennessee will go into a punt formation now. Louisiana Tech will get their hands back on the ball with a little under 6 minutes to go. It's only the third punt of the night for the Vols. And the left footer sent her out of there. But can get it done, can he? This time they fielded rather cleanly. Head for the sidelines, try to turn it upfield, ran out of room. Spencer Hurd across the way, but fairly decent field position for the Bulldogs as they bring their offense out. 48-yard punt.
If you saw the look on Todd Hilton's face, I think it reiterated what you just said. He had that look on his face like they only gonna let me hand off tonight. So I think you're right, Bob.
They said we've got a passer, Todd. All right, the Bulldogs break out of there. Let's see if they can muster anything here on the offensive side of the ball. They send 3 receivers out here on the near side. And go into the shotgun. Bobbled for a second. And now he fires it out in the flat. Out of bounds up here around the 46-yard line. Chad McKee was the man, and Nick Jester knocked him out of bounds. Jester covering a lot of territory. Not quite in time, though, that time, but he's a linebacker. 5:27 to go in the contest, and a lot of the crowd, most of them still here. A few of them now begin to stand up and sort of drift toward the exits, but I think they like what they have seen here tonight. Here's the handoff delay out of the shotgun. They put it in the stomach of the tailback, and not much doing there. Tennessee pretty well covering that one. There's Tony Robinson, one of the primary tacklers. Tony stayed home on that run that time, Condridge.
Sure did. I think he learned from his previous mistake.
Stop by Rodney Willing.
I'm surprised that maybe they've taken the attitude they just want to get the clock running, but they can move the ball. Louisiana Tech can move the ball throwing, and they just got to be patient and take the little sideline dinks and dunks to the short side of the field that Tennessee defense is giving them and make something positive happen.
Well, Tennessee's got second and third line players out there, third team players on the field right now, but timeout's going to be called here and over to the sidelines, so they're going to talk to the coaches upstairs here. The man on the Headset there is Jason Martin, one of 3 quarterbacks to see action tonight. 6'3", 220-pound youngster from Oak Grove, Louisiana, who was really nailed earlier in the night by Steve White. It appeared he might be out of there for the remainder of the game, but he bounced back. Rodney Riddick is in there playing some defensive tackle too tonight. That's another one of those guys that Tennessee needs in a backup role and to get ready for next year. Jason Martin, by the way, is 6 out of 15 for 60 yards on his stats tonight. With the timeout, clock shows 4:29 to go. Georgia comes in next week. Putting yourself in a Georgia player's mind tonight, if you would, Condridge. They've got to be at a very low point right now, but is that a confidence killer for them today, or do you bounce back with full vigor next week?
Not only do you have to bounce back, you have to do it quickly. By this time tomorrow, they've got to be almost over this and be in a situation where they can go out and focus on the next task at hand. Because if they lose 1 or 2 days of precious practice sulking about the last game, it could be a long Saturday for them. And I don't think Coach Ray Goff is going to allow that to happen.
From Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Vanderbilt tonight defeated Wake Forest by a score of 27-12. Vanderbilt will have their hands full next week. They'll be back home in Nashville to take on the Crimson Tide. But defeated the Deacons tonight 27-12. All right, breaking out of the huddle now, the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. This time the quarterback goes under the center, fires over the middle, Caddy's pass complete. Nice catch.
But once again, he's getting up off the turf. Jason Martin is taking some shots tonight.
Boy,
wow.
That was Cliff Parks, and he's, I think, going to be slow getting up.
Other scores of interest.
That looks like a cramp.
Hopefully that's all it is.
Whenever they're trying to straighten that toe back, it's a cramp calf.
SMU 6, Arkansas 3.
Still, take a look at this if you want to be a quarterback. And this is in the 4th quarter.
That's Tony Brick Robinson crashing in that time.
Middle of the 4th in baseball. The Giants too.
One of the Pat Ryan touched upon a story a moment ago that will be a key story after the game tonight, and that's the condition of Horace Morris. Hopefully he is all right. He apparently did have a knee injury, and they, at first, according to Pat, feared the worst, but he was moving around and seems to be okay. Well, Philip Fulmer is still among the undefeateds out there. He's going to roll to an easy victory tonight. Bulldogs go back, firing. This could be all. I thought it was going to be intercepted, and then finally, I think a good catch was made by Brian Francis. Just a super bit of concentration by Francis.
Great
Looked like Tennessee was going to pull it down.
Great concentration. All you can say is that because two Tennessee defenders were in position to make an interception.
Take a look at it on replay. It looked like the Vols were going to pull it down right here and intercept. And then just good effort there. Tremendous effort by Brian Francis. And so Louisiana Tech is in position now to avoid a shutout.
Are these Tennessee fans intense or what?
They want the shutout as they're cheering for it. That's Eric Redmond going outside his left guard and tackle there and trying to find the end zone, but couldn't do it. Here, a couple of baseball scores of interest, of course, to a lot of people, especially around the South. The Braves, after 6, leading the Padres 3-1, but the San Francisco Giants in the middle of the 4th are leading the Cardinals 2-0. All right, fans still chanting for some defense right here for the Vols. 2:59 remaining. In fact, Tennessee has apparently called a timeout here. 2:59 remaining in the football game as Tennessee calls a timeout. Giants winning tonight. Braves winning tonight. Condridge, I know you almost were in a position like Helton at one time. You had a shot maybe at Major League Baseball that shows football. I know you follow the game very closely. The Braves, can they catch the Giants?
I think they've got a great opportunity the way they're playing right now, but the only problem is the Giants are still winning. They're not faltering, and they don't play them anymore, and so it's not in their own hands. But I think the Braves can keep winning. And as far as my baseball career, my mother wouldn't let me go.
Have you spoken to her about that?
Oh, we've had many discussions about that, but the money wasn't anywhere like Todd helped. I think I would have left home if it was that big.
All right, second down and goal. Ball on the yard line, 1 yard line, and Tennessee's defense digging in, trying to pitch a shutout. Speaking of baseball, let's see if they can. They jam him down on the 1 yard line. He didn't gain an inch. Eric Redmond, in fact, he may have lost a half a yard. Look at them all over the place. Volunteers everywhere. There's Rick Robinson in there again.
For both teams, this is an important piece of film because they've got goal line defense on the Tennessee side that they need to work on, and they can look at some things. And Louisiana Tech will have goal line offense on their film that they can look at and see how people cut the splits down and how you block and how things work.
Lost about a half a yard. They try to come outside this time. No. Eric Redmond trying to move to his right, and Armando Fisher, 6'1", 220-pound junior linebacker, chased him down.
This is just a matter of stringing it out, and the young man just made a bad decision of trying to go outside, Eric Redmond. When you're down on the goal line like that, whatever you do, don't lose yards.
10th play of the drive coming up. Could be the final play, 4th down and goal. They do it now, or Tennessee will have pitched the shutout because there's 1:42 remaining in this contest. Be highly unlikely if they can get down here in this position again.
Well, what happened there was young players on the Tennessee defensive side saw something that they weren't too happy with. Louisiana Tech put in a passing offense. They put in 2 more receivers, took those big tight ends out. Now all of a sudden you've got a matchup where a linebacker is going to become a receiver, and smart play. When you don't know what you're doing, you got a timeout to waste. Call timeout instead of making a mistake down on the goal line.
There's John Emery, number 46 in their linebacker too tonight. He's another one of those Louisiana natives for the Tennessee Vols. One of the Vols trying to dig in and keep Louisiana Tech out of the end zone with 1:42 remaining. Vols leading 50-0. They played a world of people tonight. They dressed 120. Of course, many of those youngsters were walk-ons who were being rewarded for their time on the practice field. And tell you what, Louisiana Tech and Tennessee and all the teams in the South have been through a brutal August with a heat index over 100 degrees many of those days out there. So those youngsters deserve some kind of a treat tonight to get to dress and be in a big stadium like this. Here's the pass into the end zone. Incomplete. Tennessee keeps them out of there. Quincy Prigmore got his hand on it and saved the touchdown for the Tennessee Volunteers. So Louisiana Tech will turn it over. Tennessee takes over. Good effort by the kids, though, from Louisiana. You got to admire their, as Condridge pointed out a couple of times tonight, their courage. They have not quit, and it's been obvious since way back in the first half who was going to win this football game. But they've hung in there and fought right down to the end here, and the end is 1:36 away.
That's all you can ask.
Okay, it's Helton back, right? Yes, he's back at quarterback. Todd Helton, the 3rd quarterback of the night. Nice bit of running room in there this time. Who is that? Lane? Eric Lane. Yes, number 5. Crashes through, and he's rewarded for his time on the practice field this August and early September as Eric gets through up across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Helton gets his play from the sidelines, gives it to his team, and here they come. First down and 10 to go for the Vols. Running out the clock with 1:12 to go, knowing Georgia is coming to town next week. Helton rolls. That's by one man who tried to clothesline him there, but picks up a couple of yards before they drop him. Unfortunately, the Tennessee secondary tonight has not been tested like they will be next week when Mr. Zier comes in here. Eric Zier has one of the truly great arms in college football, and he will air it out, I'm sure, next week. There's Florida State and Duke. As you would expect, Florida State cakewalking through that one in the third quarter. Duke, of course, is on the Tennessee schedule this year. They'll be into Neyland Stadium later in the season. Here's Helton. The left-hander is going to throw one. Downfield. And he's found there almost. Not quite, though.
Pass interference.
Are they actually going to call it? Oh, look at this one. Mississippi State in the third quarter, 17-14 over Memphis State. Everybody thought that would be a dandy. And at halftime, there's a shock. SMU leading Arkansas 6-3. Hogs have been favored by a couple of touchdowns at that one, and yet might pull it out, but trailing at halftime. A 15-yard penalty on the pass interference. So it's first down and 10. 15-yard penalty and no loss of down this year, Conridge. Here's the quarterback Helton rolling out and throwing. Pass low, but incomplete. I thought he had it there for a second, but not quite able to hang on. We had a new man in there. We're looking for numbers here, to be honest with you. And this is one of those who's wearing a double number. And that's the reason Torrey Noel is number 9. And I was wondering why defensive back is out there. It's Jim Bensick. Jim Bensick, who is also wearing number 9. He's a walk-on. So we have a couple of number 9s out there. This one was the offensive one. Play in the middle this time, spinning for a little bit of yardage, and finally dropped is Cleon Mitchell. And that's going to do it. It's all over. It's been quite a show tonight for the Tennessee team as they roll to a 50-0 victory over Louisiana Tech. We're glad you could join us for the action tonight on Video Seat. We hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure the people in Louisiana who were watching tonight probably would not feel that way, but we're glad you folks were with us. You've got a very competitive football team, and better days are ahead. But Tennessee, of course, tonight pulling out all these stops, using 3 quarterbacks, using a lot of tailbacks, a lot of defensive backs, some true freshmen, and did everything right, I think, Conridge.
Well, they did. And they got to play a lot of people. They got to see a lot of different situations. They got a lot of things on film that are going to help them next week, because they get a chance to look at it and to correct the mistakes.
Well, the players are gathering now at the center of the field, congratulating each other and kneeling in what might be a moment of prayer down there. Let's go down on the sidelines. I believe Pat Ryan has the winning coach with him now, Philip Fulmer. Pat, go ahead.
Down here with Coach Fulmer, victorious your first game, 50-0, awful strong.
I was impressed with the guys, the way they played, and I'm glad a lot of guys got to play. I hate that we didn't get Todd Helton a lot more work in the second half. We really intended to, but then couldn't get the ball back. But it's a great way to start. Now the real men come to town. We'll have to start to work.
Well, the question is, you said you would find out after tonight where you stood, where your team was. Are they where you want them to be, or where you felt like they would be at this point?
Well, I'm pleased with. There was a lot of effort and a lot of good things happening. I think we'll see a lot on the film to get better at. Yeah, I mean, if I could have picked it, I'd have picked 50-0, I guess. But we'll see, and we got big ones coming up. That's the thing now.
Bill, thank you a lot, and best of luck next week.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Pat will attempt to got a couple of players now for some comments. Conridge, it's kind of difficult to judge what's going to happen next week, other than it's going to be a great Southeastern Conference game. Tennessee will be playing at home, will be favored in that ball game. I'm sure of that. But Georgia, it's kind of hard to judge because we don't know what kind of mood they're going to be in. But I would imagine a pretty nasty mood. I believe we're going back down to Pat Ryan now, who's on the sidelines, and I believe it's one quarterback talking to another quarterback.
Come on over here. I got two
Pat,
of them.
go ahead.
I got Craig Faulkner. Yeah, come on over here, Heath. down here on the sideline. You guys are kind of quite an item, aren't you?
I tell you what, I watched the show the other night, and Craig said, make sure that I throw him 50 passes this year. So I got a few out of the way, and, with those other guys next week.
Well, that sounds good. Tell me about the first touchdown pass.
The first touchdown, we run a little smash. The outside guys running 5-yard, 6-yard hitch here, and then I'm coming in behind, and they had man-to-man coverage. I just stuck them, broke to the corner of the end zone. I was open, and Heath made a good throw.
You made a great catch and made a great effort to get your feet down.
Yeah, it was about the best place he could put it, though, because it's near the end zone. It was a good throw, and he kept it in bounds where I could stay in bounds. So.
That's smart. Keep complimenting him. He'll keep throwing it to you. The last touchdown pass to Craig, the one down the middle, I just cringed when I saw that because I saw that guy in center field, and I said, whoa, is he going to get that in there? But she just rifled it in there. It was perfect.
I tell you what, you have to sort of stop your drop on that, and hopefully Craig makes a good catch. I'm really glad to have Craig back. Last year, I would never dreamed he'd have been back playing with us, and the good Lord was with him, and I'm glad that Craig's back with us, and hopefully for a big season. I'm expecting a lot out of him.
You got to be thrilled about your brother's first touchdown catch too.
I tell you what, it was wonderful. I was excited. That was better than any touchdown I've ever scored. See my younger brother out and perform like that. And first catch in high school was for 6 points. First catch in college was for 6.
That's great. I tell you what, good night for Tennessee football, and you guys, good luck next week.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Pat. Nice job down on the sidelines tonight. Condridge, as you sort of review this ball game tonight from a perspective of a Tennessee coach and someone who has played for Tennessee here, and you know what's coming up in the Southeastern Conference, what kind of grade do you give the Vols here tonight?
Well, you've got to give them a positive grade, but it's definitely not an A, because I think at this point in time,